everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear. The Bash Brothers are back, and it's time for the AMA on P1. It's the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series, and we are live here from my favorite track, Caleb Brashear. It's the Texas Motor Speedway.
Yes, we are. We got a mile and a half here, and they say everything's bigger in Texas. Well, this will be no exception here. We got 200 laps around this mile and a half quad oval, and you know, they say everything's bigger in Texas, and well, that's kind of the truth with this quad oval. It feels a lot bigger than everything else we've been to. It feels a lot wider. The straightaways feel a lot longer. The corners feel a lot bigger. It just everything just feels bigger.
It is bigger, especially that first set of corners. Turns 1 and 2, 80 feet wide. They are big. That's a big corner down there, and it's a little bit flatter too. So 80 feet wide, turns 1 and 2, 20 degrees of banking. You go down the backstretch, banked at 5 degrees, and you climb into turns 3 and 4. 24 degrees of banking over there, but it is more narrow at 58 feet, excuse me. You go down the front stretch, 5 degrees of banking. It's a double dog leg oval, and that's a lap here at Texas. In an IndyCar, you can use a huge amount of the racetrack here, and because in the sim we don't have any of that stinking PJ1 on this joint, Caleb, you can use a lot of road here too in the stock car.
Yes, you can. In real life, it's kind of a one-lane fest, but with us having iRacing, not having that PJ1 surface that they put on the track, we're allowed to run multiple lanes here, not only in the IndyCar, but in the stock cars as well. You see a lot of multiple lines, especially early on in this practice session. You see a lot of drivers kind of rocking that high line to middle line in turns 1 and 2, but you also see a lot of drivers rocking the bottom as well. 3 and 4, you'll typically just see drivers run the bottom just because you're able to just carry so much speed anyways through that corner, but you will see a lot of battling through turns 1 and 2 that will extend into 3 and 4, so should be a good one with the characteristics of the track in the sim, and I'm looking forward to this one.
You know, I am too. They're calling this race the National Fallen Firefighters 300. The rules of the road tonight are simple. 45 laps is the first stage, 90 laps the second. We'll go to 200 laps total, 300 miles. There are 4 sets of tires in the box. This is the third race here at Texas. The previous 2 won by Richard Reagan Jr. and Greg Evans. And it is a full field tonight, Caleb. 30 cars have signed in. You mentioned bigger in Texas. A couple of things that are really big here. You've got the condominiums. They are much bigger than the sister building at Charlotte. You've got the Speedway Club. That's bigger than Charlotte, where this track was modeled on. You've got Big Hoss, which at the time it was built was the largest television set in the world. And this track itself, Caleb, not many people know this. This track at one time was the second largest speedway in the United States, eclipsed only by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now, they've torn down some seats over the past few years, but it is still a mammoth facility. At one time, it had over 200,000 seats. Now they're down to about 130. Now they're down to about 75,000, but it is still a big stadium here in Fort Worth. As we get down to about 5 minutes to go in practice, do want to kind of discuss the point situation with you. Greg Evans is your leader, and he has a huge lead over Ryan O'Donoghue, 496 to 356. They are well clear, both of them, of Kendall Paul. Kendall Paul has some real-life intervention going on. He is not here. Well, he is here this evening. We'll see how much practice he's been able to get in. He's been off on a real-life adventure recently. Sam Crow is 4th in the points. John Hutchins 5th. The remainder of the top 12, David Dunwoody, Crash Neon, Troy Carricker, Say Hey, Lewis Hayes, James Hodgson, Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement, and Christian Light round out your top 12. That is, those are the gentlemen that could be looking forward to a spot in that championship 4 or in that chase come the end of the season.
Yeah, it is, and they're just trying to get as many points as possible. And with the change in how the playoffs or the chase works, you got to focus every single week now. It's a lot more important that you're capitalizing on races week in, week out, and you really can't have too many bad or off weekends in which you can lose a lot of points there. Unlike the previous playoffs, at least in real life, to where you could win a couple races and you're pretty much set in stone. However, here you got basically be on your A game for basically every single weekend you show up. So while Greg Evans, he has 4 wins on the season. He's been the most dominant driver so far here in the Grand National Series. The rest of the field, basically Ryan O'Donoghue down, is very, very close battle. The gap between Ryan O'Donoghue and John Hutchins, 2nd to 5th, is only separated by just over 30 points there. So it's a very, very close battle in the championship for basically everybody that is in Greg Evans.
Absolutely so. And Caleb, with about 3 minutes in practice, they're in the drivers' meeting. Why don't we have a look at the fastest laps in practice? I'll give you 3 guesses. Who you got?
Well, typically we always go with Greg Evans or Ryan O'Donoghue. They always set the fastest times. However, we got the new face of Franco Alvarez. He's been on a tear in the couple races he's done in the here in the AMA. But we've also seen some strong runs from Kendall Paul, James Hodgson. It could be any one of those guys at the top of the board.
Right now it is James Hodgson, my old endurance teammate, the forward-facing 88. He is at the top of the board. 30.116, 179.307 miles an hour. That is a little off the track record set by Ryan Blaney for the Grand National cars. 28.342 is the track record. The overall track record held by Tony Stewart in a Dallara IR7, 1998, True Value 500, 22.972. That's hauling the mail. And as we usually see in these mile-and-a-half tracks, it's a second, or it's 5 to 6 seconds quicker around here in an Indy car than it is in a stock car, Caleb. And so we'll be looking to see how the speeds are going to happen in qualifying as the drivers line up and they try to go for that Simshop Pole Award. Just keep driving at www.simshop.com. The weather right now on the track, 81 in the air, 94 on the speedway itself. It's kind of windy. The wind is out of the east. Caleb. And really, that means that it's going to be blowing across the straightaway. So you're going to have it blowing behind you going through turns 3 and 4. You're going to have the air on the nose going through 1 and 2, and that's going to really challenge the handling characteristics of these cars as well. Although I'd rather have it blowing that way than the other way for sure.
Yeah, it is, especially with turns 1 and 2 being tighter. It's just going to make it ever so slightly easier with how the wind is, with the direction it's blowing. It's going to make it a little bit tougher in 3 and 4 at kind of pushing against the car in the opposite direction. But it should play a factor. These are big, bulky stock cars, especially with them getting upwards of 180, 190 miles an hour if they get a really good run. So the wind will definitely affect them in how stable they're going to be, and that's definitely going to play a factor in who's going to prevail just with that little bit of wind that we've got going here.
Absolutely. You drove this car a little bit, Caleb. What's your feelings on the handling characteristics of the Grand National car this evening?
So in the little bit of testing I did, it's very it's tight in 1 and 2, obviously, with it having shallower banking, but it kind of on both ends of the track. When you get on the power, it drifts very, very nicely. Even with worn tires, it drifts very, very nicely, and you're able to rotate the car pretty smoothly out of the corners, both in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 obviously is going to be tighter. 3 and 4 a little bit looser with the steeper banking. You're able to carry just a little bit more speed there. Tire wear didn't seem to be that massive in comparison to what we've been to. Obviously, it was less than Kansas that we saw a couple weeks ago. So it won't be as bad as Kansas, but it's still going to play a factor, as always, in these Grand National cars. And it's just who's going to manage the tires the best, as we always say.
100%. That's Caleb Brashear on the handling characteristics of these cars. We're gonna get in the grandstands. Let's have a look at Kendall Paul. He's going to be the first one out, and we'll see exactly what Kendall Paul can do here in his number 78 Ford Dark Horse Mustang. The Outland custom arms on the side of that automobile. And here goes Kendall Paul. He was very fast in practice. It's going to be interesting to me, Caleb, to see exactly what the fast guys do around here. Is it going to be on the bottom all the way around in 1 and 2? Are they going to move up a lane, trying to carry a little bit more speed? What are your thoughts?
Well, in 1 and 2, I reckon they're going to try to set up for their second lap here. So we'll see Kendall. Let's see if he tries to carry as much speed through 1 and 2. He kind of holds a very high line, so he's obviously just trying to carry as much speed as possible on the setup lap, and then the second lap is going to be his go lap. I think you typically want to be about the second or third lane going through 1 and 2 on your go lap, just because you're able to carry a little bit more speed, and with the fresher tires, you're still able to turn in quite nicely. And then obviously, once we go down into 3 and 4, you'll just wrap the bottom. The banking there is you're able to carry so much more speed. Although we see from Kendall Paul, he holds that bottom line. He's got about 160 miles an hour minimum through the corner, onto the back straightaway, into turns 3 and 4. He goes back down towards the bottom, carrying about 175 miles an hour through 3 and 4.
Big wiggle. Big wiggle.
Bit of a wiggle. A little bit of a wiggle. Let's see how he does. That puts him top of the board.
Yeah, Kendall Paul's going to go to the top of the board, 30.175, good enough for 178.956 miles an hour. David Dunwoody is on the track as well. Let's check in on his lap. Dunwoody is on his go lap in the admin box, number 28. Got the patriotic number on the side of that car. Lots of chrome. We love to see that, Caleb. Dunwoody is across the line for his first lap, 31.393. And here he comes for lap number 2. We'll see what he can do. It's David Dunwoody, and let's jump in the cockpit of David Dunwoody as he comes off of turn number 2. Down the backstretch, Tweety Bird on the dash. He's fighting the wheel a little bit, Caleb. That car looks very, very loose.
Yeah, does indeed. He's through the infield. Right as we say that, that's going to validate his second lap there. David Dunwoody, he's had a rough stretch of qualifying runs here in the AMA, and looks like he's going to just have another one here. We typically do see him drive back up towards the front. We see him do that quite a bit this season, so it'll be another drive that he's going to have to put on a show for us to try to have a good result here.
It will indeed. As of now, minute 30 left, there are 7 cars actually, that have not taken time. There are some additional drivers out making laps. Those cars are not being scored. You only get 2 hot ones. And so I would venture a guess here, Caleb, to say that the grid is pretty much set with a minute 10 left in qualifying. None of those other cars from Matt Metler in 24th on down have appeared on the Speedway. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. And we've got a full slate planned for you. Tomorrow night, we're right back here at Texas for the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. Sunday, it is the Dark Horse DW12 Series presented by 40 Racewear. They're going to go off at 8. And then Monday, we've got a long line of doubleheaders starting for you, starting with the IndyCar Open Series at 8 o'clock. We'll have the Indy next. Top split at 10. Tuesday, it's another doubleheader. The Indy Oval Series is at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Kick off the month of May, 8:15. Don't miss that one. The next Oval Series at Mexico City at 9:30. Wednesday, the Horizon IndyCar Series comes right back here to Texas at 8. And then we'll be right here for the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Race number 13 on the calendar for the Grand National cars. Next week, Caleb, at 8:20 for the pre-race, we're at Watkins Glen. How about that?
Oh, I love me some good old Watkins. It's one of my favorite road courses. In a stock car, well, that's really special there because of how much you're able to put the power down around there and how slidey the car feels when you're going around the track up in New York.
It most certainly is, and here we go. We've got a grid for you here at the Texas Motor Speedway. On the pole, it's going to be Greg Evans. Franco Alvarez is going to start alongside. Row 2, Joshua Zorn. He's an off-again, on-again competitor. He's here tonight. That number 9 Napa machine looks to be fast. He'll be inside Ryan O'Donohue on row 2. Kendall Paul, Justin Osterman going to go from row 3, and that's a Jimmy Spencer throwback on Justin Osterman's machine. He'll start 6th. James Hodgson, the forward-facing 88. Mark Padgett will go from row 4. Christian Light, Trevor Ryan will start 9th and 10th. In 11th, it's Sam Crow. Lewis Hayes, his teammate, will start from 12th. 13th, John Hutchins. Crash Neon is going to start 14th. In row 8, Troy Carricker, and he's quietly putting together a really good season, Caleb. He's starting 15th. Sergio Abella is going to go from 16th. Randy Dunlap, Andrew Gates, Brian Sharp, and Eric Corder will round out your top 20. 21st, it's Rick D. Fallas. He'll be in the Marty Robbins special as always. Donald Green in the 6th will roll from 22nd. Mike Rigney is going to start 24th next to the 28 of David Dunwoody. Vance Fisher, the Tabasco Fiasco, inside Lee Campbell, 25th and 26th. 27th and 28th, Ted Craven and Heath Graham. And at the tail end of the field, Christopher Logan and Matt Metler. The pace car is pulling away, and we are getting ready to rock and roll here at Texas, Caleb.
Yeah, we are. Greg Evans, Franco Alvarez, two names that we've recently been saying a lot on the front row. Greg Evans, he's been on the front row a lot. He does very well all the time. But Franco Alvarez, a new face to this series, lines up on his outside. We've seen these guys go back and forth, battling on track ever since Franco came into the series. So with them lining up in the front row, it's going to be a good one early on in this race.
It most certainly will, and do want to thank again everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. We've awarded the Simshop Pole Award to Greg Evans, www.simshop.com. Just keep driving, and we're about ready to see Barney for a green flag here at Texas, Caleb. Pace car is going to make the hard left onto the pit lane. The field is under the control of Greg Evans.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is out, and we are underway. 200 laps, 300 miles in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. It's the National Fallen Firefighters 300, and they head down into turn 1, Caleb.
Yeah, they do. Greg Evans holding about a lane up, going through turns 1 and 2. Franco Alvarez on the outside. They slide into single file all the way back to Ryan O'Donohue. Now Kendall Paul's got a car to his outside. That is Justin Osterman riding that high line, and the rest of the field is fairly single file. The only battle right now up towards the front is Justin Osterman and Kendall Paul at the moment. Right in front of them, Ryan O'Donohue and Joshua Zorn going side by side, and then they get back into single file going through turns 1 and 2.
I see James Hodgson in the forward face in 88, Caleb. He's trying to sneak in behind Kendall Paul, get the run to the inside of Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. Osterman, though, he wants a piece of Joshua Zorn on the high side. Move the 53. Camel liveried machine for Black Magic Studios to the high side. He's going to go around Joshua Zorn. Justin Osterman looking feisty here early, Caleb.
Yes, he is indeed. They call him Mr. Excitement for a reason. He's inside the top 5 already early on in the stage. He starts 6, already up 2 positions, and now let's see if he's able to keep that momentum forward. Ryan O'Donohue, Greg Evans right in front of him. Greg dropping back a little bit. Franco Alvarez has actually went to the lead here, and he's pulling away from the cars behind.
You know, he most certainly is. You're looking at Justin Osterman. He's pulled up on the back of Greg Evans. Ryan O'Donohue has gotten through Evans as well. Osterman looking for that 3rd spot, but all that's done is let Franco Alvarez start to pull away. Osterman right up under the rear spoiler of Evans. He's going to drive to the high side going down the back, Caleb.
Yeah, he is. He almost giving a wall tap there, and he's able to clear Greg Evans going through turns 3 and 4. So that is Justin Osterman up three positions there from where he started. Let's see if he's still able to keep that momentum up. And we usually see him he's very quick early on. Let's see if he's able to continue forward and try to catch our leaders, Franco Alvarez, Ryan O'Donohue. Meanwhile, right in front of Justin Osterman, they're going side by side going to turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, you're looking from the best seat in the house. Justin Osterman out of his helmet. He watches Ryan O'Donohue and Franco Alvarez as they start to battle for the lead here. We're going to get up to that battle because O'Donohue is there, that mass medical supply machine, to the high side of Franco Alvarez, and I think we're going to have a new leader coming off of turn 2, Caleb.
Ryan O'Donohue absolutely sending it on the outside. That's just the amount of speed difference you're able to carry on that high side compared to the bottom. And I've seen Ryan O'Donohue early on in these stages here in these first 6 laps. He's kind of been a little bit loose coming off the corners here. So he is kind of carrying a lot of speed going in and out of the corners here around Texas. So he's kind of rocking that high line, going onto the straightaways. It's just getting a little bit loose on the exit, getting a little bit close to the wall there. But he is able to prevail over Franco Alvarez. And now Franco Alvarez has to defend from Mr. Excitement himself, Justin Osterman. Osterman rocking that second lane through 3 and 4. Let's see if he's able to keep moving forward here.
He's been able to keep some clean air on the nose of that Chevrolet as he chases down Franco Alvarez in the number 41. There's going to be a bit of a touch. Franco Alvarez chases it up the hill and through will go Justin Osterman. So he didn't give him the 3 taps. Greg Evans is going to get through there. That was a move out of my way. I'm coming through. Justin Osterman goes to second. Meanwhile, a driver we haven't really talked about thus far, but one that's moving up very rapidly. That's Christian Light. Christian Light has gone from the 10th starting spot, 9th, up to 5th, and he has been rapidly moving through the field. He is also the fastest car on the track at the moment as he pulls up on the back of Franco Alvarez. He's going to try to move into that 4th spot here before too much longer, Caleb.
Yeah, he is on the back of Franco Alvarez. Alvarez trying to recover from that moment just about a lap ago with Justin Osterman. Christian Light now all over the rear bumper of his. So it's going to be very close. Christian Light barely tapping the wall coming off turn number 4. No damage, though, so he's able to continue moving forward. Meanwhile, right in front of them, Greg Evans looking up the inside of the 53 of Justin Osterman. They're going to go side by side down the backstretch here, Murph.
Yeah, Greg Evans known to save his stuff early, just kind of bide his time and wait for the race to come to him. You think with all that rapid movement on the high side that maybe Justin Osterman might have fried the tires early here, Caleb?
I think so, and it's not the first case scenario in which we've seen him kind of do that. He goes out towards makes a charge through the field, and he starts to fall back because he was pushing those tires just a little bit. So we saw him do that at Kansas a couple times. We saw him do it at Las Vegas very early on in the season. So he's prevailing right now, but Greg Evans and Franco Alvarez need to start making a move around him before they get held up too much and let Ryan O'Donohue get away here.
Yeah, they really do want to get around Justin Osterman because he's given up about a tenth of a second a lap to Ryan O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue is driven off into the distance, but Greg Evans can't challenge Justin Osterman at the moment because he's got his hands full with Franco Alvarez. Alvarez looked up the inside, thought better of it. But Alvarez wants back around Evans so he can get to Justin Osterman, and I think there might be a little bit of red mist behind the helmet of that number 41.
I reckon so, but I think he's probably calmed down from now. He's still kind of holding that smooth line. I've been noticing he's been just kind of holding a nice smooth line around the bottom here and just being very, very gentle with his steering inputs, his throttle inputs. Ryan O'Donoghue very hard into the wall coming off turn number 2 there. And right behind him now allows Greg Evans and Justin Osterman to go side by side. And Greg Evans slots himself in
we're on
second.
board, Alvarez, and he and Osterman get together. I don't think for a minute that that's over between Osterman and Alvarez. Franco Alvarez backs out of it, but he's going to get one more time to rally. Greg Evans has gone past Ryan O'Donoghue for the lead, and there you see that exchange just ahead. But we want to keep the camera right here because I don't think the paint trading is done between Justin Osterman and Franco Alvarez.
No, it is not. Now, Mr. Excitement's all over the rear bumper of Ryan O'Donoghue. It's Ryan O'Donoghue out with the early lead, possibly seeing some tire fade only on lap 15. So this is kind of interesting. We see Ryan O'Donoghue not really wear his stuff out that much this early on. Now he's falling back through the orders. He's being hounded by a set of cars here.
Yeah, he's got Osterman, he's got Alvarez, he's got Joshua Zorn, and now Kendall Paul has joined that fight. Osterman and Alvarez going to go at it one more time. Osterman slips up loose on the bottom. Alvarez in the wall. They're touched. They're spinning through the infield. Osterman is around through the grass. No caution yet. No caution yet. Franco Alvarez gets away with it. Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman with a wild ride. He's going to get back on the racing surface. No caution, and we are going to go back and take one more look at that, Caleb, for certain sure. Just as soon as I can get my breath back and get the replay queued up, we're going to have a crack at Justin Osterman. That was a wild ride, and we're going to take a ride with him through the infield. You knew it was going to happen when those two got sideways. Here's Osterman. We're on board. We're in his helmet, Caleb. There's the contact with the wall. Off bounces Alvarez, and the ride is on for Justin Osterman. See him sliding through the infield backwards. That all started. That was not Osterman's doing. That was Franco Alvarez bouncing off the wall. Caleb, Alvarez comes out in not too bad a shape. He gets back into the 14th spot, and so Franco Alvarez will start his march back toward the front. Meanwhile, Kendall Paul, Ryan O'Donoghue, Joshua Zorn, Trevor Ryan, Mark Paget, they're all right there for that second spot.
Yes, they are indeed. And Kendall Paul kind of dropped back in the early stages of the race. He's kind of been it looks like he's been saving his stuff up. That big incident between Justin Osterman and Franco Alvarez has kind of jumbled up the field here, and that allowed Kendall Paul and Joshua Zorn to make their way back up towards the front here. They're all over Ryan O'Donoghue at the moment. Kendall Paul slots himself into second. He got a second place finish here back in 2024, so he's looking to replicate that, but try to go a better one place here. Joshua Zorn slots himself into third, gets around Ryan O'Donoghue, and Ryan O'Donoghue is kind of falling towards the back here, Murph.
Yeah, I think he made that hard run up to the front early, cooked the tires, he slapped the wall. That's not helping matters any. Zorn goes through, and now Ryan O'Donoghue is back to the 4th spot. Trevor Ryan is next up on the hit parade. The good news for Ryan O'Donoghue, if there is any, is that he's got about 0.7 of a second between himself and Trevor Ryan. Meanwhile, Christian Light, he's diving on the inside of Mark Paget. for the 6th spot and move Christian Light back to 6th. He's been as high as 5th. That's going to bring through Sam Crow and the forward-facing 88 of James Hodgson. They all want a piece of that. They're going to try to drop Mark Paget back to the 9th spot here.
Yeah, they are. Sam Crow moving up a couple positions. He started back in 11th. A winner back at Rockingham, the one race, one of 2 races Murph missed. Sam Crow getting 1 win on the season. And you typically see this from Sam Crow. He's been very well at tracks that have a good amount of tire wear, and he's progressively moved up towards the front. And we've seen him do that a lot. We saw that especially at Rockingham. How well he was able to save the tires here. He seems to be doing that again here at Texas, so he seems like he's got a very good run on Christian Light going through the front stretch here, Murph.
Yeah, he does. Sam Crow looks to the inside of Christian Light. Christian Light, a hard charger. Sam Crow, the old crafty, grizzled veteran, my old mate, my old broadcasting mate. Sam Crow drops to the inside. He's got the position from Christian Light going down the back, and that'll solidify going through turns 3 and 4. Light's going to give it up. We would also like to mention Troy Carricker has moved himself into the 10th spot. So there's Troy very calmly, very carefully moving himself through the field. He's up 5 spots from his 15th starting spot. Sergio Abella is right behind him. Abella is also up 5 spots from his 16th starting position. Those two started next to each other. And then the always colorful Crash Neon, as Abella tags the wall a little bit off of 2. He's currently 12th, so he's up a couple. He started 14th, Caleb.
Yeah, he is. Crash Neon has some of the best liveries I've ever seen in the AMA, and I don't think he's rocked same livery twice in both series. I think they've always been different going week by week. So he's got some very cool liveries that I do like. He's all over the back of Sergio Bella. Kind of looking up the inside, but not able to quite get a fender on him. But Sergio Bella gets a little bit loose coming off turn number 2.
Yeah, he is. Abella to the high side. Crash Neon right on the bottom. Neon in the 00. Of course, you'll see him in Indy cars. You'll see him in stock cars. You'll see him in sprint cars. I'm pretty sure Crash Neon will drive anything with 2 wheels in the iRacing. And here he is to the bottom one more time of Sergio Abella, trying to take away that 11th spot from Sergio, but he can't quite get it done, Caleb. Abella's just got too much momentum on that high side. We're watching the race for the 11th spot.
Yeah, it is Sergio Bella. He's got a very good run going through 3 and 4, but typically because of how steep that banking is, whoever's on the outside is going to have to yield going through that corner. So you're not able to just carry quite enough momentum going on the high side here, and that's what we saw. Crash Neon slots himself up into the 11th place position, and right now he's actually gaining on the group in front of James Hodgson, Troy Carricker, Christian Light, and Mark Paget. So we'll see if he's able to gain any more positions. He's all over the back of James Hodgson going through 3 and 4.
Yeah, we're going to rejoin that battle. This is the best one on the track. You've got Christian Light 8th, Troy Carricker 9th, James Hodgson 10th, and Crash Neon has latched himself onto the back of this group. Neon now looking to the inside of James Hodgson. So we'll follow this battle. We're 28 laps out of 200 in here at Texas. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. You're watching the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series right here on P1. Mark Murphy, Caleb Brashear with you. The Bass Brothers ride once again. Now, I tried to get David Dunwoody to get me some gold wings on my IndyCar the other night. Couldn't do it, so I think instead
I was questioning you on that in the race chat at Phoenix there.
Well,
you never responded. I was very disappointed in the lack of gold wings there, Murph.
Well, I think for Dark Horse I'm going to have to shelve the gold wings because I don't know how to paint the cars. That's why David Dunwoody at Black Magic Studios, Troy Carricker, big power slide off of turn 4. He hangs on. He might actually gain some time. And now there's a battle royale between Light, Neon, and James Hodgson for the final couple of spots in the top 10. Crash Neon will go through. James Hodgson on the bottom looking at Christian Light. They've been joined by Sergio Abella. Franco Alvarez has caught back up with them. And we would be in remiss if we didn't talk about David Dunwoody. Dunwoody started this race in the 23rd spot. He is up to 14th. So he is rapidly coming forward, Caleb. But there's David Dunwoody in 14th. He's got John Hutchins right behind him. And then Say Hey Lewis Hayes, another veteran in the Grease Monkey Special. For Robert Turnbull, he runs along in the 16th spot after he started 12th. So there's some decent comers and goers, movers and shakers. You got Brian Sharp 17th, Vance Fisher, the Tabasco Fiasco is 18th, and don't count out this number 10 car. Rick Fallas runs along 19th, and he's got Mike Rigney just at the top of the screen in the John Van Varello Special. In 20th, Rigney started out back in this one, did not set a qualifying time, and so he's edging himself forward as well. We're going to get back, though, to this battle for 8th, 9th, 10th, etc., because Crash Neon looking to the inside of Troy Carricker, and he's going to have that 8th spot before too much longer. Crash Neon coming toward the front, Caleb.
Yeah, he is, and right in front of him is Ryan O'Donohue for the 7th place position. They are about 0.3 quicker than Ryan O'Donohue. Ryan O'Donohue dropping towards the back of the field. He's been riding that high line through 1 and 2, and that just makes me wonder, you're carrying more speed on the tires. You're just going to wear them a little bit. So that's the main difference is he's been riding that high line through 1 and 2, just wearing his tires out a little bit faster than everybody else. He had the pace early on, and now he's dropping towards the middle of the pack here. Gets very, very close to the wall coming off turn number 4, but Crash Neon is going to be all over the back of Ryan O'Donohue in only a couple corners time.
Yeah, Crash Neon last time through 32.784. The only 2 cars that are quicker than him on the racetrack right now, Greg Evans and Kendall Paul. Joshua Zorn is just about there as well. Greg Evans has extended out to a 2-second lead over Kendall Paul. Kendall's got a little bit of trouble with Joshua Zorn, but there's about 0.3 between those 2 cars. This is the best battle on the racetrack. You're watching Ryan O'Donohue 7th. Crash Neon is in 8th. Troy Carricker 9th. James Hodgson in 10th. As they race along for the bottom portion of the top 10. And these cars are catching Mark Paget at a pretty brisk clip. Sam Crow runs along in 5th. You see him there at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Sam Crow is in 5th, and he has moved solidly through the field. He continues to come forward. But the only guy that's been able to continue to run this consistent pace other than Evans, Paul, and Zorn has been Crash Neon as he drops to the inside of Ryan O'Donohue.
Yeah, he's just finally able to get that position going on the inside. Ryan O'Donohue is still there, but Crash Neon's going to clear him off the exit of turn number 2 there. Ryan O'Donohue, again, just getting very, very close to that wall every single time he goes on the exits of either turns 2 or 4. And he's just been kind of riding that middle to high lane, and it's just kind of hurting his tires. He's very hard on the wall, Ryan O'Donohue. Troy Carricker is going to go on the inside of him. James Hodgson is going to try to follow.
Yeah, that's the second time that O'Donohue has slapped the wall. He's got Hodgson who is inside. Franco Alvarez trying to move back into the top 10. And through the middle, 3 wide, is going to come Sergio Abella. Now, that's a unique thing that you'll see here in Texas. Somebody shoot right up the middle like that. Abella's going to back out of the 3 wide situation going into turn 3. You really don't want to run 3 wide through there. O'Donohue getting worked over by Franco Alvarez, and he would love to stay in the top 10 and claim his stage point, but that's not going to happen because now Alvarez is through, and here comes Sergio Abella in the 21. He's going to make it 11th, move O'Donohue back to 12th, and there's contact.
Kept it a little bit cleaner through 1 and 2. Franco Alvarez was able to save it and able to hold that position over Sergio Abella there, but that was very, very close.
It was very close indeed, Caleb, and that's you do not want to be rubbing like that here in Texas, and that's the 3rd or 4th time that Franco Alvarez has had contact in this race. A couple of times with Justin Osterman, now with Sergio Abella, he's gotten away with it but it hasn't done the sides of the quarter panels any good on that 41. He might have some damage to get repaired, and Ryan O'Donohue slaps the wall again off of turn number 2, and that car just looks evil right now, Caleb. It almost looks like it's loose and at the same time pushing. It's what we call push loose, and that is a bad feeling. You can't turn the car, but the back end steps out all at the same time.
Yeah, it is. It makes me wonder, especially with how hard he's been hitting the wall, if he's got some sort of damage underneath that hood. And it's only, I would imagine so, with how hard he's hit it and how many times he's hit it. So not only he's got worry about tires, and now they go 3 wide off the corner. Ryan O'Donohue is just dropping like a fly here.
Yeah, he's thrown the anchor out of that 14. He's just waiting for the end of the stage. John Hutchins goes through. Christian Light goes through. David Dunwoody, he's going to try to make it through. Dunwoody, and O'Donohue hits it again coming off of turn number 4. Dunwoody, though, what a drive from the back of the field he's put on. He's up 10 spots, and he's going to make it 3 wide on the bottom as they exit turn 2, Caleb.
Yeah, he is. Dunwoody on the bottom there. They've been 3 wide for about a lap now. Ryan O'Donoghue's still been able to hang on. Christian Light backs out going to turn number 3. He's going to try to follow David Dunwoody on the inside, although he gets very, very close to that wall on the outside. Let's see if he's able to get alongside O'Donohue this time around. Not quite there. Now he is. David Dunwoody able to clear Ryan O'Donohue, and now Ryan O'Donohue has got to face the likes of Rick Fallis, St. Louis Hayes, and Mike Rigney. That's all right behind him.
Yeah, and those are all his teammates, too. Those cars started in the back, and they have now caught Ryan O'Donohue, who once led this race by almost a second. Rick Fallows now is going to go to the inside. Hey, Lewis Hayes is involved in that battle. Mike Rigney just a little bit further back. And Ryan O'Donohue at this point, he's just saying, look, can the stage please be over? I want to fix my car, and I want new tires. There goes Fallows. There goes Hayes. Here comes Rigney. He's going to make it through. You've got the teddy bear, Ted Craven, slow on the apron. Christopher Logan is 6 laps down. Donald Green has gone a lap down. But so far, we have had no cautions as Rick Fallows blinks out a little bit. Fallows is going to go to the inside of Christian Light, though. And we've got just 2 laps to go in the stage. It has been all this man, Greg Evans. The Deuce hasn't been out front. He's been in the wind. He's built a 3-second advantage. He's got 1 more lap to pay dirt. And he'll collect the Track Racer stage break number 1 for that'll go to Greg Evans here. As a reminder, if you go to trackracer.com, use the promo code that I'm going to put in the chat. You get 5% of your order going to the AMA end of year prize fund, and I'll put the web address in the chat as Greg Evans comes around and wins Track Racer stage 1. There it is. Evans across the line. And now he's just got to wait for everybody else.
All right, man.
There's Sergio Abella across. Caution is out. Greg Evans is your stage 1 winner. Remember, trackracer.com. Put in the web address just as I've put it in the chat, and 5% of your order goes to the end of year AMA prize fund as the pace car is going to come out. And I would anticipate, Caleb, we are going to see everybody, and I mean everybody, come on the pit lane here and get some tires. Donald Green will get his lap back. You get 4 sets in the pits. You might as well take one right now.
Yeah, and you got 4 sets of tires over the wall as well, so it's not like you have to save any tires here. It's not like we're limited on sets. You can pretty much take one at the end of both the stages, and then also take 2 in the middle of stage number 3 if need be. I don't imagine we'll need 3 sets throughout the duration of stage number 3 unless we get a few cautions that are able to help those drivers that do decide to pit for new tires. But Greg Evans leading the field, what's going to be down pit road. Kendall Paul right behind him. Joshua Zorn in 3rd. Trevor Ryan crashed. Neon Crash is on an absolute tear, but so is Trevor Ryan. One thing I did want to point out before that stage ended is Sam Crow was inside the top 5. He dropped back to 9th by the time the stage ended. So my guess was his tires, he also burned up his tires a little bit there.
Either that or, there's always the age-old thing. Sometimes, they'll say, oh, leaders cross the line, I'll back off, and sure enough, everybody flies on past. You're going to see Donald Green, Christopher Logan, and Ted Craven stay out here. Green has to. He is the lucky dog. Everybody else that's staying out here is doing so to get the wave around. Greg Evans in the pit lane. You see the right side go up. It's back down now, the lefts, and Greg Evans is just about down and away. Here's the race off pit road. It's going to be won by Greg Evans. Joshua Zorn and Trevor Ryan almost even coming out of there. There's going to be a dispute over the second spot. Kendall Paul will get away 4th, and Mark Paget is 5th. We do want to thank the series sponsor. They are the reason that the show goes on, Outland Custom Arms. At Outland Custom Arms, their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. That's OutlandCustomArms.com. And we're looking at Greg Evans. He's the leader. He is the leader. He was the winner of Track Racer Stage number 1. The 2 cars in front of him will be waved around momentarily. We'll get the 1 to go, and we'll get you back to green flag action here at Texas on the P1 broadcasting channel. I'm going to look at Stage 2, Caleb, and I'm going to think it's going to be more of the same. Greg Evans has that car out front. It's going to be very difficult to deal with him tonight here without some sort of strategery being employed by his competitors.
Yes, it will indeed. And Greg Evans, we've seen him basically be at the front of these races. Basically every single race, apart from maybe a couple, he's been out in front. Battling for wins, battling for top 5s, podiums, and whatnot. But it's been a mixture of who's been up at the front here. Trevor Ryan and Joshua Zorn, 2 drivers we really don't see that much up in the front of the field battling with Greg Evans. They are in 2nd and 3rd. Trevor Ryan to his outside, Joshua Zorn right behind him. And I guarantee you we'll probably see the same thing from Greg, where he'll drop back a little bit at the start to save tire, and then we'll see him eventually take off about 15 laps in.
Yeah, that's pretty much Greg Evans' MO. He's going to lay back at the start, let everybody get their stuff good and wore out, and then he's going to cruise right on past. For Joshua Zorn, is he going to be disciplined enough to not burn up his stuff? Same for Trevor Ryan, Kendall Paul. We know Sam Crow is. The green flag is back out. Barney's got it in the air, and we are back under green here at Texas.
Yeah, Greg Evans gets out to a very, very good start over Trevor Ryan. They kind of immediately file all the way back to 4th to Kendall Paul and Mark Paget. They kind of all go single file. Closest battle on track. We got 3 wide fading out off the corner number 2.
Whoa, big wreck!
All right, man.
Big wreck. Mike Rigney was involved. I saw David Dunwoody involved. John Hutchins is involved. I see the Tabasco Fiasco backwards. That's Vance Fisher. Big wad of cars on the backstretch. And here we go. There's 3 wide. That's Dunwoody on the bottom. And where does this start? Looks like Rigney, Light, and Hutchins come together 3 wide. Dunwoody's kind of the innocent bystander. Rick Fallas gets swept up in that mess. And from there, the melee is on. You see the 79 of Eric Corder get into it. A huge accident coming off of turn number 2 down the back has claimed at least 6 automobiles here at Texas. There you see Rick Fallas, Hey Lewis Hayes, Brian Sharp, Ryan O'Donoghue. I don't know that O'Donoghue hit anything, and I would love to go back and see the replay from Ryan O'Donoghue's vantage point here, Caleb. There you see him. They're coming off of turn number 2. Now, the accident is going to happen several rows ahead, Caleb. And watch O'Donoghue here. Does he get a piece of this or not? We know the 79 of Eric Corder does. He's on the outside. There's the cars bouncing off the inside wall. O'Donoghue hard on the brakes. Bam! Hard impact into the back of David Dunwoody. So Ryan O'Donoghue is most certainly going to have to visit pit road. And there you see him come in. The front of that Chevrolet is severely rumpled. Rick Fallis has disconnected, as has Andrew Gates, David Dunwoody, John Hutchins featuring the meatball. Meanwhile, Greg Evans, the easiest laps led are the ones under the admin box caution flag, Caleb.
Yes, they are indeed, and this just this actually kind of hurts Greg Evans in a way, because Greg Evans is known for how well he's able to save tires. Well, everybody else behind them, they got less laps to worry about trying to get to the end of the stage here. So Trevor, Ryan, Joshua Sword, Kendall, Paul can all just push a little bit harder and not have to worry about tires as much as we get stage number 2 back underway. I do want to point out David Dunwoody and John Hutchins are both have blown motors, so they are going to be done for the night from that crash there.
That is the one thing that will end your night, and you're right, Colby. That is a bummer for Dunwoody, John Hutchins, and Brian Sharp. David Dunwoody had been worth the price of admission. He was on the doorstep of the top 10 and swept up in a mess, not his own making. So a tough break for David Dunwoody in that admin box Chevrolet. We're getting ready to line back up here and get going one more time. 53 of 200 complete here in the... I can't talk, Caleb. That's bad news when you can't form a complete sentence and you're in this line of work. We're getting ready to go back to green here in the National Fallen Firefighters 300. You got Mark Murphy, Caleb Brashear here with you on P1. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. Greg Evans, Trevor Ryan, row 1, Kendall Paul, Joshua Zorn, row 2, Troy Carricker, Mark Paget, Sam Crow, Sergio Abella, James Hodgson, and Lee Campbell has made an appearance, rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, is Greg Evans, Trevor Ryan, a new, like we said on the last restart, a name we really don't talk about too much here on the AMA series. We'll see if he has anything for our leader, Greg Evans, who has basically led all of this race apart from the very beginning. So, pace car is off. Greg Evans is going to lead him off.
Greg Evans does have the lead here. He'll hit the loud pedal and accelerate away from Trevor Ryan, Joshua Zorn, and Kendall Paul. We're back under green, Caleb, here at Texas.
Yeah, Greg Evans again getting out to a very big jump there. Trevor Ryan, Joshua Zorn still going side by side through 1 and 2. Kendall Paul and Mark Paget go side by side as well. It appears that Kendall is going to have to yield a little bit going into turn number 3 and 4.
There you go. Joshua Zorn has made it into the second spot. Joshua Zorn is a charger. If he can get up there with Greg Evans, he will absolutely make a challenge for the lead, and he's made it past Trevor Ryan. As I've kind of noted on many occasions, Caleb, especially in NASCAR competition, it is very much a disadvantage to start second just with the way that the sim regulates it. You can't go any faster than the leader. You can't be faster than the leader in the box. You have to let the leader launch first. It is very difficult to stay even because if you mess up in any sort of a way, you get the black flag and you go to the back.
Yeah, that's always tough, especially with these double file restarts. And it's even a little bit trickier on any restart because you really can't pass anybody before the start finish line. So Trevor Ryan slots himself into second place just by Joshua Zorn, as a matter of fact, slots himself into second place just by being on that inside and just having a better visual of when Greg Evans is going to go. However, Trevor Ryan, before they even get to turn one, is able to get that second place position back. Now he's on the rear bumper of Greg Evans and trying to hunt down the lead here. And he goes down side by side down the backstretch. He's going to get the position clear before they even get to turn number 3.
He is. Troy Carricker is trying to follow suit. Greg Evans has dropped back to third. Trevor Ryan is your leader. And Mark Paget in the State Water Heaters, number 22. He's pulled up on the back of Trevor Ryan, and that's another name we haven't mentioned a whole lot here in the AMA. Mark Paget, and he's just about ready to drive to the lead of this baby, Caleb.
Yeah, he is. He looks up the inside, going into turn number 3, able to get the position before they even get to the apex of the corner. Mark Paget is going to lead his first laps here at Texas.
He is indeed. Trevor Ryan demoted to second. Greg Evans lurks in third. Zorn fourth. And Troy Carricker has made it to fifth. There's Kendall Paul. He runs along in the sixth spot. Right behind him, you've got Sergio Abella, Sam Crow, James Hodson. And there's a mess behind them. James Hodson is clear in ninth. Franco Alvarez is working over Brian Sharp for 10th. And we've got a car around.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
It's Keith Graham. It's Keith Graham. And he did not avoid. I thought he was going to avoid hitting anything. And he noses the car into the inside retaining wall after a long and lurid slide. And what have we got here? It's Keith Graham. He goes down to the inside. And there's a little bit of contact between him and Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. Around goes Keith Graham. Now watch this. He is absolutely going to do a masterful job of saving this car. He doesn't hit anything. He's still driving it. Got to hold the brakes there, Caleb.
Yeah, he does indeed. And just a one-car incident there. So not as bad as the previous one, thankfully, but another caution very early on in the stage number 2. Still about 30 laps to go when they go next time by. And this is just kind of eating into Greg Evans' strategy that he had for these stages of just trying to tire save as much as possible. Well, now everybody else could just push even harder now with these cautions just coming out so frequently.
They can indeed. We took a look at the nose of Keith Graham. There's a small wrinkle, but it's not bad. Mike Rigney, Teddy Craven, Ryan O'Donohue, those cars have elected to come to pit road. All of those automobiles were damaged in that incident that occurred right at the beginning of the stage, and you can see the damage visibly on Ryan O'Donohue. I looked at Keith Graham's car. It might be a little wrinkled, but it's not too bad. He has chosen to stay out. But Ryan O'Donohue, he is going to take the time to get himself some more repair. You see the car not going up on the jacks. That's just straight up, I want to get as much damage fixed as I can, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. Ryan O'Donohue had a bit of bad luck over the past couple of weeks with damage. He had it at Kansas as well, and he was just wasn't able to get back up towards the front there because of that damage, and he was leading early on in that race. So just kind of a repeat of what we saw just a few weeks ago from Ryan O'Donohue. Meanwhile, Mark Paget going to still lead these laps under caution. Let's see what he's able to do on this restart with Greg Evans going to line up back in third for the first time, I believe.
He is, and remember, that's more advantageous than being second. We've got a poll going in the chat, and everybody's invited to join in. Does this hurt Greg Evans or not? Right now, the no's have it 2-1 over the yeses. It remains to be seen. I think he's fast enough if he needs to turn it up over the short run. But he has definitely established himself as a long-run car. And my thought isn't that it's not that he's not fast enough. It's that with each restart, it's going to put him within the sights of different cars who are willing to go fast in a short burst. And he may just give up a ton of track position only to have another yellow fall, and the cycle just continues for Greg Evans. So he needs to be careful not to lose a whole lot of track position here, even when he's saving the tires, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. And even if we do somehow get into our caution before the stage ends, that's just even going to hurt him more if he just decides to just try to save a little bit and even let more cars go by. So to me, he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. I believe he will do that. He's a very talented driver and a very smart driver. So I think he's going to try to think of, let's get out towards the front pretty quick here on this restart.
Yes, he is. The lights are out on the pace car. It's going to hang the left back on the pit road. Mark Paget, Trevor Ryan, your front row. Greg Evans, Joshua Zorn. The second row, Troy Carricker, Kendall Paul. Our row 3, Sam Crow, Sergio Abella, James Hodgson, Franco Alvarez, the rest of the top 10. Paget gets a great launch, and as you see it, Greg Evans is going to follow right on through. We've got 27 laps to decide stage number 2 here in the National Fallen Firefighters 300 in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Evans has made the move in a second, and Troy Carricker is looking hard at Trevor Ryan for that third spot. We've got caution one more time. Big mess. Donald Green around. Justin Osterman is involved. You see Rigney and O'Donohue sliding by on the high side. Brian Sharp has a meatball. Donald Green also the meatball. And let's see what's happened here to bring out this yellow light. Oh, big impact for Brian Sharp. Brian Sharp and Crash Neon. You've got, who else is involved here? Sharp is in between. That's the 60. And don't have a number on the 60. But they all came together over there going into turn 3. Brian Sharp, hard impact, and then he gets tagged by the 70 of Christopher Logan. Let's watch this one more time from the blimp, Caleb. Big impact from Donald Green. It looked like, to me, that Sharp let out of it to let the cars ahead of him go through, not make it 3 wide, and just got tagged a little bit. Justin Osterman may not have been anticipating that, but around goes Brian Sharp. You see the DVD cars sneaking through on the high side, but that's going to be night done for Brian Sharp. Look at the damage on that admin box number 125. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, it is, and not only that, both blowers for both Brian Sharp and Donald Green there. So we got even another 2 confirmed blown motors from these drivers. So just unfortunate that when you have those blown motors and you're just not able to repair it. That's the only way, I believe, in stock cars you're actually able to get that message of we're done. You're not able to repair the damage.
Yeah, once the engine goes in these things, you're toast. Ryan O'Donohue is still fixing damage. He's on the pit lane. You can see visibly the damage to the front of that car. It is slowly, Caleb, popping back into place, but he wants to get as much of that fixed as possible. Aero matters a great deal here at Texas, and he does not want to be at a disadvantage. And so these cautions are really helping Ryan O'Donohue in his quest to get that number 14 fixed. Mike Rigney, Vance Fisher also on the pit road. So too Justin Osterman. Brian Sharp has towed in. Christopher Logan has towed in. But this is an advantage. Now, O'Donohue needs to be careful so that he doesn't lose a lap, because here comes the pace car, Caleb. They're at the start-finish line. O'Donohue needs to get going, and there he goes off pit lane.
Yeah, he does. It did seem like he got most of that front end repaired. It does look fairly clean, but he did take even before he got himself into those incidents, he got into the wall quite a few number of times. So I wonder if he's still just trying to fix that possible suspension damage that he got possibly on the right rear or the right front, just hitting the wall a couple times early on in stage number 1.
Yeah, and look, you can see the body work, but what you can't see is something underneath. So if there's suspension damage, that can take a good long time to repair. And all these cautions are doing for Ryan O'Donoghue are allowing him to get as much of that damage fixed as possible. I do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. You are watching the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series here on P1. If you haven't already done it, hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We are just about ready to swap the admin box caution flag for the green and get back to racing action here at the Texas Motor Speedway in the AMA. And we're gonna let's watch this from the grandstands. Mark Paget, Greg Evans, Trevor Ryan as we go back to green. Let's try to keep this one out for a while, Caleb. What do you say?
Yeah, as Mark Paget wasn't able to get quite a jump what we saw on a Greg Evans restart. Greg Evans now looking to the outside, just over 20 laps to go in the stage, and we're seeing Greg Evans kind of already start pushing. We haven't had that main green flag laps on these tires, so Greg Evans knows he can push a lot harder now, but so does the rest of the field to try to get some points here in stage number 2.
He does indeed. Look at Troy Carricker flex his muscle around the outside. He's done and dusted over Trevor Ryan, and Troy Carricker is coming to the front. He is now third. Big run on the outside. Christian Light with a black flag, passing under the yellow. Too good of a jump for Christian Light. But the man on the move right here is Troy Carricker, and Franco Alvarez has found his way back into the top 5. He's going to have a look at Trevor Ryan as well.
Yes, he is indeed getting very, very close to that rear bumper there. Franco Alvarez got himself into 2 incidents. The one with Osterman very early on, and then the big one that happened down the backstretch he was also involved in. So he's been able to drive himself back up towards the top 5 here. We know he has the talent to go for the win here, but he's got himself in a couple of incidents, but it seems to be all right for him. He's rocking in the 5th place and is all over the rear bumper of that 45 machine.
Yeah, the good news is he's been in a couple of different frac-eye, if you will, Caleb, but he hasn't really hit anything other than some grass and the pavement transitions. And so Franco Alvarez dives it to the bottom on Trevor Ryan and moved Franco Alvarez to the 3rd spot. Troy Carricker has closed it down on Greg Evans, and there's your top 3. Mark Paget, Greg Evans, Troy Carricker, Alvarez, and Ryan battling for 4th and 5th, and you've got Joshua Zorn. Ryan O'Donoghue, the car must be feeling a little bit better. He's past Lee Campbell, and now he's looking at Keith Graham for the 13th spot. Now, we have had some attrition, but Ryan O'Donoghue seems to be back up on song, although he is about 0.6 of a second off the pace, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. It has to be some sort of massive suspension damage that's still underneath that vehicle, or he's just trying to save his stuff and just try to get to the end of stage number 3 and then go full bore on that 3rd stage. So it could be he's just trying to save his stuff. Meanwhile, back at the front, we got an absolute incredible battle for the 2nd place position. Greg Evans, Troy Carricker, and Franco Alvarez. Oh, they're almost nose to tail. All 3 of those guys. You could throw a blanket under them.
Troy Carricker
hard into the wall.
Yeah, Carricker's going to bounce off the wall. That's going to let Alvarez and Trevor Ryan go through. So move Franco Alvarez into that. Into that 3rd spot. My mouse dropped, and that's the clunk you heard in the background. My apologies. I've got a soft click mouse at the insistence of Gary Godso, Caleb, but that doesn't matter if you knock it off the table with your knee, does it?
Yeah, you just use your feet with it. Maybe that's the purpose of the mouse there, the soft click mouse.
I'll tell you what, and I appreciate everybody's patience while I break the 4th wall and get all of the broadcasting tools back up. That was interesting, to say the least, and I do appreciate everybody's patience. I've got everything back. Mark Paget has fallen slowly but surely back into the clutches of Greg Evans, Caleb.
Yes, he is indeed. And it's not like Ark has actually had much fall off with his times. He's been running a consistent 31.2 ever since the restart. Greg Evans is just kind of going a little bit faster than him and just eking out or like half-tenth every lap or so. Meanwhile, Franco Alvarez is actually the fastest of the top three at the moment. He was the only one that did a 31.2 last time around. So possibly Franco Alvarez is going to go back up towards the front, but now he has about a 3 to 4 car disadvantage over Greg Evans. And now Greg Evans looks up the inside for the lead, going down the front stretch here, Murph.
Yes, he is, and Greg Evans, he's going to go for the lead, move Mark Paget back to second. Franco Alvarez is in third, but this is kind of like the same song, second verse, Caleb. Greg Evans waited until about halfway through the stage. He's made the pass for the lead, and now the fight is on for second. Franco Alvarez, Trevor Ryan, Troy Carricker are right there, ready and able and willing to pounce.
Yes, they are indeed. Mark Paget seems to drop off just a little bit ever since Greg took the lead there. A 31.9 last time around. Meanwhile, Franco Alvarez a 31.6, nearly 0.3 faster than Mark Paget in front. Right behind them, Trevor Ryan has Troy Carricker looking up his inside, not able to quite get the fender going through turn number 3. Trevor Ryan able to hold that fourth place position at the moment, but he has both Troy Carricker and Joshua Zorn all over his rear bumper right now.
Yes, he does, and Joshua Zorn's gonna have the best seat in the house for this action. Let's jump on board with Joshua Zorn. Actually, we'll see what the number 9 sees. There he is, Joshua Zorn. Run along in the 6th spot. He's been right there the entire day. Started 3rd, and he hasn't been any lower than 6th. This is the lowest Joshua Zorn has been. But bear in mind he could be saving his stuff. You've got about 10.5 laps to go in the stage, Caleb. And Greg Evans, just so we're all aware, has not pulled away to that huge advantage that he did earlier today. Greg Evans is still within shouting distance of second place Mark Paget.
Yeah, as Mark seems to have been able to pick up the pace just a little bit, was able to equal Greg Evans last time around. Franco Alvarez was actually the slowest of the top 3 there, so he's dropped back a little bit. And Trevor Ryan, Troy Carricker, and Joshua Zorn all kind of mellowed out over the last couple of laps. Look back up towards the front. Mark Paget has a decent run through 3 and 4, but not able to close the gap any further than 1-2 car lengths at the moment here, Murph.
He's not. Now, he was a touch of the stopwatch quicker than Greg Evans that time through, 32.144 to a 32.126. So just incrementally faster. We've got a battle for 3rd, though. Trevor Ryan's dropped to the inside of Franco Alvarez. He's going to try to take 3rd. Meanwhile, Troy Carricker would like to go to 5th over Joshua Zorn. So 2 by 2 we go through 3 and 4. Franco Alvarez got awfully close to that outside wall before he reestablished himself into that 3rd spot. Carricker is just about through into 5th, but he gets kind of bottled up behind Trevor Ryan there.
He's on the inside, and he's actually going to have to yield that position to Joshua Zorn. He actually is falling back into clutches of Kendall Paul at the moment. He's been falling back quite a bit here, just in 1 lap. He's got a run going down the front stretch of Trevor Ryan and Joshua Zorn, but he's going to have a yield because he has nowhere else to go.
Yeah, he most certainly is. Troy Carricker looking to advance position, but he can't do it. The road ahead Well, it's blocked. Zorn and Ryan 2x2. Carricker is forced to kind of sit and wait. We'll jump on board with him as he rides along in 6th. Take a look at the weather. It is getting hot here in Texas. It was 91 degrees on the track for qualifying. It's 112 on the track now, Caleb, and that's only going to exacerbate the tire issues.
Yeah, the tires will get hot and greasy, so they're just going to wear a little bit more, and they're going to be just harder to drive just in general with the hotter track temp. I wonder that's just going to fall in the clutches of drivers like Greg Evans, like Sam Kerr, like Kendall Paul, who are able to save tires best than the rest of them.
We're not going to see that show up in this stage. We've had too many cautions, but we may see it in the final stage as we ride on board Troy Carricker. He runs along in the 6th spot. If you look off of his gearbox, you see a hungry Kendall Paul in 7th. And if you look off the nose, well, there's the 45 of Trevor Ryan, and that gives you a great sense of speed. That's the, that would be the Days of Thunder cams, courtesy of Whiplash Sim Cams, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. Kendall looking to the outside of Troy Carricker there. Able to get him. Does he clear him going to turn number 1? Not quite, but he has the outside momentum holding that 3rd lane. He has the momentum on the high side, but Troy Carricker comes back at him. They're still side by side down the back stretch, but Kendall Paul able to get that position before they get into 3.
Yeah, Troy Carricker got the car really loose coming out of turn number 2, and he just couldn't hang on. He had to get out of the gas, and Kendall Paul rolled right by on the outside. And speaking of rolling by people, he's trying to roll right by Trevor Ryan. Kendall Paul has lit the fire under that 78 faster than the leaders by a 1/10 of a second. He has decided it's time to go with 4 laps to go in the stage. Kendall Paul looks to the outside of Trevor Ryan. He's going to make it into the 5th spot. Next up, Joshua Zorn.
Yeah, Kendall's been rocking that outside line. We are just over 3 laps to go here, and Kendall realizes, well, you're in pit for tires. May as well make the best use of what I got left. So he's just been choosing to ride that outside line and just carry as much momentum in these corners as much as possible. He's got a fender on Joshua Zorn. He's going side by side down the backstretch. He's going to have the draft in front. Right in front of them, Justin Osman, last second, gets out of the way. Greg Evans, and they got a lap car. Doesn't look like it's going to get in the way, but maybe.
I don't know. Osterman's going to get through Joshua Zorn. Osterman gets to the bottom. He's going to get out of the way, and that's a smart move for him. He does not want to get tagged and turn around because he is in the lucky dog spot. He would be able to get back on the lead lap once the stage break comes, but you don't get the lucky dog if you're involved in any contact. So he needs to absolutely make sure that he is contact free as we come around this next 1.5 miles. Kendall Paul has made it through Troy Carricker into the 4th spot, and we'll see if he can get by the Franco Alvarez machine 1 lap before the end of Blackmagic Studios stage break number 2.
Yeah, Greg Evans going to go lead him off. Right in front of them, or right behind him, Mark Padgett hits the wall a little bit. 3rd place battle, Kendall Paul, Franco Alvarez. They go into 3 and 4. Kendall's going to have the momentum on the high side. He is side by side. Remember, stage caution doesn't end until 10th place car gets to the line.
You got to keep going. There's the caution for the stage. I believe Kendall Paul was ahead by just a hair at the moment of caution, and there he goes. He'll sneak into the 3rd spot. So credit Kendall Paul with 3rd. The winner of Blackmagic Studios stage number 2, well, that's going to be Greg Evans. At Blackmagic Studios, they are a small operation dedicated to high-quality iRacing paints and wraps for any vehicle in the sim. You can visit them on Discord or Facebook for your next high-quality iRacing paint. When I choose to race, it is in a Blackmagic Designs machine. And, well, Caleb, you've seen that paint scheme from just about every angle, including upside down. They're good ones, right?
They are indeed. They just need a little bit of gold wing added to them.
You know, I think we should shame Andy Dunwoody or David Dunwoody on the stream or on the broadcast until he paints the wings of my car gold. I think I think that should be the next thing we do. We're gonna have everybody stop under this caution. Ryan O'Donohue, and I was kind of tracking this. He was 0.6 of a second slower than the leaders a couple of cautions ago. He's trimmed that to 0.4, so that car is getting a little bit faster. Again, we've got several damaged automobiles kind of hanging on to the back of the lead lap as Greg Evans comes in to the pit lane. You gotta wonder, are they going to be able to get enough work done here to get those machines whole? You see the crumpled car, Brian Sharp, they pass it by. Christian Light is going to stay out and get one of his laps back. He's 23 laps in arrears. Osterman will be the lucky dog, and we are on for wholesale pit stops here under the second stage break. Caution flags brought to you by Admin Box if you're a race controller, league admin. You do a lot of hosted sessions. You need one of those. www.adminbox.com. It's a custom button box for iRacing race control. Mark Paget won the race off a pit road, Caleb. He was 0.6 of a second less in his pit box than Greg Evans. How about that?
Yeah, that's Mark Paget going to lead a few more laps under caution here. So, and he'll have the advantage on the restart as well. So we'll see what he's able to do with that. Greg Evans in second. Franco Alvarez is going to line up third, and that's going to be interesting because those two are very talented drivers. I wonder if they got anything for Greg Evans with him lining up on the outside here.
There you go. Mark Paget, your leader, and you're right. He's going to have Greg Evans to the outside, and, well, Greg Evans, that's a disadvantageous spot to be. I don't think he's going to mind it, though. We've seen him drop back through the first part of every run. But to be fair, Caleb, it took some doing for him. It took some doings for him to get back to the lead. It took some doings for him to get back to the lead on that last stage. He did win it, but it was not as easy as anticipated. It's worth noting Justin Osterman has stopped for lengthy repair. He got his lap back, but he's now gone back to 2 laps down, and he still sits on pit lane now for 2 minutes. And so he has been back. Ryan O'Donohue came back to pit lane a second time, 4.5 seconds. My guess is that would be the balance of the repair on that number 14 machine, so he should be good to go with that final repair. We do want to thank Outland Custom Arms for their support of the series. At Outland Custom Arms, their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. That's Outland Custom Arms, and we are getting ready to go back to green. Thank everybody for joining in. Make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1. Mark Paget, Greg Evans, going to lead him back to green as we get the final stage in
Green, green, green.
the AMA round at Texas underway. It's the National Fallen Firefighters 300. Final stage live on P1.
Yeah, Franco Alvarez already all over the rear bumper of our leader here. Greg Evans slots himself back into the 4th place position. Now he's on the inside of Kendall Paul going to turns 3 and 4. Nearly 3 wide behind them, though. That was Troy Carricker, Trevor Ryan, and Joshua Zorn going 3 wide down the backstretch. Troy Carricker is able to get the best of it. Joshua Zorn and Trevor Ryan still side by side. Looks like Joshua Zorn on that outside did briefly have Trevor Ryan cleared, but as they go through 1 and 2, Trevor Ryan's going to have the inside advantage. We got a little bit loose. That was Sergio Bella getting loose off of 2.
Yeah, I've noticed he's been driving that car pretty loose the entire time. He's got Ryan O'Donohue to his outside, and O'Donohue's got that hot rod fixed, and he is coming back toward the front in a hurry. He restarted 14th. He's now 9th. He's going to go to the outside of Crash Neon, make it 8th, and he's got Joshua Zorn and Trevor Ryan, who have been up front for most of the second stage, right in his sights, Caleb.
Yeah, he is. Ryan O'Donohue led, like you said, led early on, but he had a bit of damage and a bit of tire wear at the end of the first stage, and he fell back towards the back of the field by the end of stage number 1, and he's just been trying to claw back as much as he can. Now he looks on the inside of Joshua Zorn. He's going to have the inside line go through 1 and 2. Trevor Ryan's right in front of him, holds that second lane, and now has a fender on the outside of Trevor Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan O'Donohue desperate to get back to the front of this field. Franco Alvarez has the lead over Mark Paget and Greg Evans, but the excitement is back with Ryan O'Donohue. He is marching toward the front from 14th on the restart around the outside of Troy Carricker. Welcome back to the top 5, Ryan O'Donohue, and he immediately will drive it to the outside of Kendall Paul for 4th.
Yes, he will, able to clear him before they even get to turn 1. And now he's going to start looking on the back of his teammate, Greg Evans. He's going to have a run down the backstretch. Does he look up the inside? Not quite there. But meanwhile, right in front of these two, Franco Alvarez and Mark Paget have been going side by side for about the last lap or so. Franco Alvarez on the outside, just able to carry more momentum going down these straightaways. They're going to be still side by side going through 1 and 2. Looks like Mark Paget has the advantage, and he's able to get that position coming off turn number 2.
He is indeed. Troy Carricker looking at Ryan O'Donohue. O'Donohue looking at Greg Evans. And now the question is, does O'Donohue just get in there and run the pace of Greg Evans as Paget has gone past Franco Alvarez for the lead? There's Alvarez, and Mark Paget has started to extend the lead. But you got to wonder, is O'Donohue just going to follow Evans now, or is he going to try to reel in Mark Paget? We've seen Greg Evans be extremely patient, save the tires. Is that going to be O'Donohue's strategy? The poll is closed. About half of you think the cautions hurt Evans, and about half of you think that he's going to be all right. But there's Mark Paget. He is your leader. Franco Alvarez second, and the battle is behind Alvarez.
It is indeed. I wonder if he's already nuked his tires very early into this run here. Only 10 laps, around 10 laps on this stint of tires, and he's already fallen back into the likes of Greg Evans, Ryan O'Donohue, Crash Neon, who we haven't talked about since the first stage. He's back inside the top 5 on the inside of Troy Carricker, and now is looking on the inside of Ryan O'Donohue.
Can't quite get that move done coming off of turn number 4. Troy Carricker runs his car back to the high side. Crash Neon to the bottom. Neon's going to have the advantage through 1 and 2, but Carricker keeps it wound up high, wide, and handsome. He might get a fender on Ryan O'Donohue here. He does not. But Troy Carricker locked in a battle with Crash Neon. Now Neon's going to clear him, and he's immediately side by side with Ryan O'Donohue. Meanwhile, Greg Evans is looking to the inside of Franco Alvarez.
Yeah, Alvarez dropping a little bit further back. He's been able to hold off Greg Evans for the last 2 laps or so. And it appears a little bit that they are gaining just ever so slightly on our leader. Greg Evans was about 2/10 quicker than both the drivers in front of him. But he drops back a little bit, and now he has Crash Neon all over his inside.
Yes, he does. Greg Evans unable to get the spot from Franco Alvarez, and Crash Neon is hauling the mail in that 0-0. He can't get it done on Greg Evans, and so Neon will remain 4th, O'Donohue 5th. They've got Kendall Paul lurking back there. Meanwhile, this is allowing Mark Paget, your leader, just to drive away into the sunset, Caleb.
Yes, it is indeed. The more they fight, the more Mark Paget is going to be able to get away from him, and he's absolutely loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror right now. And not only that, he has clean air over the rest of the field at the moment, so he's just it's just another advantage that's going to go his way. Meanwhile, they're nearly they nearly went 3 wide behind him with the likes of Greg Evans, Ryan O'Donoghue, and Crash and Neon. They're still side by side with Crash and Ryan. Ryan on the outside, able to get a good run. Crash is on the inside. They're still side by side going to turns number 3 and 4.
Now, we race with the guy driving the 00 a lot, Caleb. What's your feeling going side by side, wheel to wheel with a guy named Crash?
Well, it's obviously, one of those names that ideally is not for sim racing to have a name like Crash, but he is quite the opposite. He's a very clean and respectful driver on the IndyCar side. He's been respectful on the AMA side as well, and now he's on a charge towards the front. We'll see if he's able to keep himself inside the top 5 because he's got Troy Carrickers at his outside. But yeah, we've raced Crash for a while. I want to say it's been about a year since we've kind of noticed him in the IndyCar server, and he's been in tops list pretty frequently on the fixed oval side. So very talented for sure. But once you get to know a guy, you just kind of, it's just another driver at that point.
I will say the first time I saw that name in my relative, I definitely did a double take, and then after that it was fine. He's a character, and for those of you who don't know, sim racing, Ryan O'Donoghue tagged from Troy Carricker. He saved it and somehow used the punch in the back to get next to Greg Evans for the 3rd spot. O'Donoghue does not complete that pass, and they're going to go 3 wide behind him. That's Kendall Paul getting into the mix.
Yeah, Kendall's going a little bit quicker at the moment, and he's on the inside of Troy Carricker, not able to quite get a fender, and now he has to yield to a little bit of Crash Neon, who's going to look up his inside. Kendall Paul on the outside. It looks like he has the better tires at the moment, as they all are starting to fall just a little bit towards our leader here. Now, one thing you got to know is, we are still only 20 laps in the stage, so we got to determine who is really pushing right now and who is saving their stuff. And do we already see a couple of drivers with fall off? They're going to go 3 wide through the dog leg.
Yeah, I think Troy Carricker is one of those you're seeing some fall off from. He's having a heck of a time. He's got Crash Neon bottled up behind him, and that's going to let Sergio Abella go through. Kendall Paul has also got through. You've got Trevor Ryan back there, Joshua Zorn, Sam Crow. I think Troy Carricker might be holding up these cars. Crash Neon's going to have to find another way through. Meanwhile, back up at the front, Mark Paget has the lead, and it's almost a full second now over Franco Alvarez and Greg Evans. Now, it's worth mentioning the lap times are starting to swing back into Greg Evans' favor. The last time through, Mark Paget, 31.969 to a 31.908 for Greg Evans. Franco Alvarez was about a tenth slower than Evans. Ryan O'Donoghue, 31.953. So, the lap times are coming back in favor of the Deuce, but he spotted him 0.8 of a second to get back to second place. O'Donoghue, Kendall Paul, they are right in that range. Kendall Paul is actually faster than Mark Paget now as well, and that goes for Evans, O'Donoghue, Franco Alvarez about the same speed as Mark Paget. So the Deuce, Ryan O'Donoghue, and Kendall Paul are going to be coming in some pretty short order here, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. Franco Alvarez was holding up Greg Evans for a long while there just to try to defend his position. But now that Greg Evans has been released, it seems like he is significantly faster than the rest of the field at the moment. Kendall Paul, meanwhile, all over the rear back of his teammate Ryan O'Donoghue. Ryan gets ever really close to Franco Alvarez, but he had to check up a little bit, and that's going to allow Kendall to get to his inside on the back straightaway. He's got a fender. He's going side by side, and he's able to clear him before they even get to the apex.
Yeah, and Ryan O'Donoghue, he had a. Not only did he get checked up behind Franco Alvarez, he got really loose off a 2 over there, and he just about knocked the turn 2 wall down on exit, and he's cognizant of that. He just now got that 14 fixed. He does not want to hit the wall anymore, and so Ryan O'Donoghue is going to continue on. in that 5th spot. Kendall Paul moves it into 4th, and we're getting into a spot now where let's watch Greg Evans as he tries to chase down Mark Paget. And talk to us, Caleb. You ran this car. Talk to us a little bit about fuel windows, fuel strategy, and what you think is going to happen here as far as pit stops in this final stage.
Well, you obviously got 3 strategies. You got the undercut, the overcut, and then straight down the middle. Straight down the middle would be around lap 145, which is 30 laps from now, to make it exactly halfway. If you choose to do the undercut, well, you'll have fresher tires in the middle portion of the race, but if you get, if it goes green to the end, then you'll have worse tires at the very end of it. So if you go with the overcut, well, you go as long as possible, but you'll be very, very slow in the middle stint, and you'll just throw on the freshest tires at the end and try to claw back as much time as you can. One thing you also got to consider is if we do somehow get another caution that gets in this 3rd stage, that will throw a wrench into everybody's plan. They are just outside the fuel window to make it. Typically, a fuel tank is about 65 to 70 laps here, full tilt. And if you're saving, maybe you're able to push it to 75, but that's a really big maybe if you do. So I reckon a lot of drivers will try to get to at least the 145 mark before we start to see pit cycles. Theoretically, you can pit around 130 and still make it to the end on one stop, but I reckon we'll start to see a lot of drivers come in around 145 to 150.
Yeah, that would be my thought as well. If it was me, and I'm not running in this race, of course, but if it was me, I might think about staying out a little bit longer, just because one, green flag pit stops can be very treacherous, and we know how often that changes the races that we run in. So they can be a little bit treacherous. A lot of times green flag stops will breed cautions. The other bit, Caleb, is I don't know that I want to take my next set of tires so quickly. You've only got one extra set. And as we watch Greg Evans, he's now got that deficit under 0.3 of a second. And as my good friend David Dunwoody would say, he's in there thinking, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty." Because he is running down Mark Paget in a hurry. They've got Justin Osterman ahead of him. Osterman is 2 laps down in the 18th spot, so not a factor here. But Greg Evans visibly catching Mark Paget.
Yeah, he is, but it's kind of stagnated how quickly he was gaining. It is about a 10th difference at the moment, but it's not like he's completely dropping off a little bit loose off a turn 2 from Mark Paget there, getting a little bit squirrely coming off the corner. So it makes me think he's been a little bit too much on throttle throughout the duration of the stint, and he's starting to light up that right rear just a tiny bit here, Murph.
Yeah, and you look at Mark Paget, you could see it visibly coming off of turn number 2, and that's where it starts here. When the tires start to wear, and I don't care what kind of car you're driving, as the tires start to wear, the trouble spot, and you saw the wiggle there one more time, the trouble spot is getting off of turn number 2. That's where the handling issues start. You'll also start to feel it coming off of turn number 4, and eventually, as you continue to overheat that right rear, it gets hard to even drive through the tri-oval here, Caleb. We've seen people in open wheel races spin just making it through the front stretch. The car will get so light on old tires.
Yeah, it is, and you not only see that at Texas, you see that at tracks like Charlotte and Atlanta, especially Atlanta as well. Where the car, you'll just burn off the right rear at these quad ovals, and the car will just get loose on the front stretch. But I'd say Texas is the less prevalent of the 3 of those. But Mark Paget, he's getting very, very loose through the corner. Greg Evans is going to look up the inside. Mark Paget on the outside. He's going to yield to Greg Evans going through the apex of 2, and Greg Evans is back in the lead here, Murph.
Greg Evans makes the move on Mark Paget. It took the deuce 31 laps, But he's made it back to the point here at Texas, moved Mark Padgett back to second. Franco Alvarez is third. There's Franco. Kendall Paul is fourth. Greg Evans had a bit of a blink on that last lap. Nothing to be worried about, but he did blink out just a little bit. Do want to point out that Franco Alvarez and Kendall Paul, as well as Joshua Zorn, are all much quicker than Mark Padgett at this point.
Yeah, he is. He jumped out to that massive lead, worn the tires just a little bit faster than everybody else, and now he's starting to pay for it. He's going to start dropping back towards the field. However, it is fairly spread out, and we do know you have to pit for tires. So maybe it's a strategy of maybe he wants to try an undercut style strategy and then really saving that second longer stint. So it is a possibility that Mark just wants to push as hard as possible, and once he starts to fall back even just a little bit more, to take that new set of tires and try to be fresh in the middle part of this third stage.
Just giving Mike Rigney a little bit of the back and forth here. He says, one day, fingers crossed, they'll leave him with sheet metal and he'll be able to finish a race. I said, who needs sheet metal? Well, apparently he says he does. I would like to point out that if you want to have some fun, go get a super modified or a sprint car. They don't have sheet metal, Caleb. As a matter of fact, I'm not so sure that some super modifieds even have seat belts. Those things are nuts.
Yeah. It would violate a lot of safety standards, but anything you got to do to save weight, I guess. Currently looking on the battle for the 7th place position here, or not 7th, the 8th place position. Trevor Ryan able to get around Troy Carricker. They go through turns 3 and 4 now. And now Trevor Ryan's all over the rear bumper of Sergio Bella. Troy Carricker getting very loose off of turn number 4. That allows Crash Neon to close up a little bit.
It does indeed. Crash Neon run along in that 10th spot. You got a battle between Trevor Ryan, Sergio Abella, that's 7th and 8th. Troy Carricker 9th. Crash Neon is 10th, and he's got a ringside seat for this Donnybrook between Trevor Ryan and Sergio Abella.
Yeah, he does. He's looking on the rear bumper of Troy Carricker is Crash Neon. Trevor Ryan should get Sergio Bella going through turn number 1, but Sergio holds that high line. He holds it really up high there, almost in the middle of the track. That's typically how high you want to go in these Grand National cars. But Sergio Bella gets the run. He looks up the inside of Trevor Ryan, trying to get that position back, but unfortunately he's going to have to yield coming through turn number 4. So Trevor Ryan is up a couple places, slots himself into the 7th place position, and now Crash Neon is all over the rear bumper of Sergio Bella.
Yes, he is. Crash Neon looking to make it P8. He's been all over the map here in this one. He's been to the front, he's been to the back, he's been everywhere in between. He's now 8th. Troy Carricker is going to make the move on Sergio Abella, and Sergio Abella has started to fall back. He reminds me a lot, Caleb, Sergio Abella does, of our good friend Lionel Callisto and the way that he drives these cars. Very fast, very loose, and that can really hurt him on the long runs because the right rear tire gets just completely wore out. I remember calling an AMA stock car race with Lionel Callisto in it, and he was turning the car more right than he was left at the end of a lot of those stints, and it wasn't very fast either. But Lionel, great driver. If he's out there listening to us, we hope we see you on a racetrack soon, buddy, because you're a ton of fun to be on the track with. But Sergio Abella reminds me a lot of that. He's turning a car, and you can tell it just by looking at it, Caleb. He's turning a car more right than he is left at this point. Yeah,
it is just using that throttle to make the car rotate. And that's typically what you see a lot on the short track side. You use the throttle to rotate the car. Not so much on these mile and a halves. It is still very much prevalent, but just not as much. Do want to point out that Ryan O'Donoghue has dropped off a little bit here. He's dropped 2 positions just in the last 2 laps here. He's back in the 8th place position, and he seems to maybe have killed his tires again, just like he did in that first stage.
Yeah, the window's open for Ryan O'Donoghue, and if you're Ryan, you might want to think about that short pit situation. Just come on and get yourself some tires, and kind of think about maybe a late race caution that might bail you out, because he is headed straight for the back of the top 10. Troy Carricker is next on the hit parade for Ryan O'Donoghue. Speaking of that DVD team, very quietly, Sam Crow is working on Lee Campbell for that 11th spot. And he's just very quietly kind of stroking along. We've got 65 laps to go. I wouldn't put it past Sam Crow to sneak in a top 5 here, Caleb.
No, he was top 5 in the middle portion of that first stage, and it seemed like he had the freshest tires, but unfortunately just kind of worn his tires a little bit too quickly and found himself back in 9th. We again said during that he is very good at tire saving. We saw that at the likes of Rockingham. We saw that a little bit in Bristol. So at these mile and a halves, he is able to still save tires pretty well here. But it seems like he's kind of stagnated a little bit right in front of him. Sergio Bella hard into the wall.
Yeah, and that's that loose condition coming off the corner. He's just chasing it up the hill. Whap! There it pancakes the right side at the exit of turn number 4. He keeps it going straight, but that's going to open up the door for Sam Crow. Abella hits the wall again off of 2. Sam Crow drifts it sideways. Lee Campbell, James Hodgson, and Say Hey Lewis Hayes will say thank you very much. We'd like to have that spot. Move Sam Crow back to 14th. And now Say Hey Lewis Hayes is going to try to be the one that breaks into the top 10.
Yeah, Say Hey Lewis Hayes. I actually did see a couple laps ago, he's actually the fastest of this pack here. He's the only one besides James Hodgson to be in the 32s, and he's 2/10 quicker than James Hodgson at the moment. He's actually faster than the majority of the field in front of him, all the way up to Troy Carricker, and he's equaling lap times with him. So he is faster than his teammate Ryan O'Donoghue at the moment. We'll see if he's able to continue that pace throughout the rest of this stint here. Sergio Bella is pitting this time down. He got a little bit squirrely coming off turn number 2. He is pitting in. Yeah. And that's right from James Hodgson.
Yeah, Sergio Abella is sideways getting onto the pit lane. He is not going to make it. Abella slides it sideways into the grass. I do not believe that's going to bring out a caution. It is going to get him a black flag, too fast entering pit lane. But that's going to show you just the treachery of getting onto the pits here. He's got a ton of rear brake bias in there trying to get it whoed up. And there you see it. There's the line right there where those cones are. And he just blew right on past it. Sergio Abella comes around, very reminiscent of Brandon Trano in the Indy Open top split. He did that twice, just because they've moved the line there, and the brake bias was a little bit too far back, and around she went. Same thing for Sergio Abella.
Yeah, I was in the voice call when he did that, and he was able to laugh it off, thankfully, and just have a good time for the race, because he was basically out of it at that point when he tried to do a J turn the rest of the way to the pit lane.
Yeah, it was an interesting sight to behold, and I'm sure that Brandon will have that figured out. You got to remember, he's a guy that's been around forever, but he's had a lot of real life commitments, and so when you see guys like that jump back in a car, guys that I would consider legends, not just in Indy cars, but in iRacing in general, and haven't been in a car in a while, stuff like that happens, especially when you've got updates to cars and you haven't been in one in a minute. There are little things that can catch you out and move the pit line, move the pit entry 50 feet, and change the way the car brakes a little bit, and you too can be backwards getting onto pit lane. Sergio Abella back out, but he has fallen 3 laps off the pace and now runs 16th. Kendall Paul has brought the 78 to pit lane. So now we're seeing guys start to blink. 144 of 200. Kendall Paul has come to pit lane. Vance Fisher, Lee Campbell also have brought their cars to the pit lane. And the advantage here goes to Greg Evans because he's built a 2.4 second lead over Mark Paget. Greg Evans is able to stay out and kind of see and wait. And his marker is going to be Kendall Paul. How fast is Kendall Paul going to be when he gets back out on the track? He's really kind of the first serious bidder to make a pit stop. Trevor Ryan now on pit lane.
Trevor Ryan, indeed. Sergio Bella actually drifted around our leader, Greg Evans, there, and that just goes to show the pace difference, even with Sergio Bella on the fresher tires. In fact, all these lap cars are on fresher tires, and you just see the pace difference in just a couple of corners, and Sergio Bella is already gone, so Greg Evans is seeing the pace difference right in front of him at the moment, but one thing he's also got to consider, if he pits now, and he's a lap down, due to other people staying out, and a caution comes out, he's going to be trapped a lap down and be on more worn tires than our leader. So if you're Greg Evans, to me, you got to stay out as long as possible and either bank on the caution or bank on your late run pace with less than about 30 to 40 to go.
I had zoomed back in on Joshua Zorn because he had caught Mark Paget for second, but then that battle kind of evaporated. Kendall Paul has laid down the marker. His last lap, purple lap for him, 30.884. That is about, it's not about, it's 1.7 seconds quicker than what Greg Evans is running currently. And so that's the difference that new tires makes, 1.7 seconds for Kendall Paul. So Greg Evans, he might want to hit pit lane in the next couple of laps. Otherwise, he's going to come back out behind Kendall Paul when the whole thing cycles through. Now, there are 2 ways to think about that. Caleb. Either Kendall Paul's going to run his tires off by the time Greg Evans makes his pit stop, or Greg Evans is going to have fresher tires at the end of this race, but Evans not stopping quite yet. It's worth mentioning Say Lewis Hayes has fought his way back up to the 7th spot. And so Say Lewis Hayes, great run for him. He sees Kendall Paul go around and unlap himself, but Say Lewis Hayes having a good run. Kendall Paul very close to Troy Carricker there in front, but they're going to make that work. Carricker runs along in 6th. There he is. And I think Troy Carricker is coming to pit lane.
He does indeed, and so does Mark Pritchett, so does Franco Alvarez. They all come to pit lane this time just before the 50 to go mark, so just over 50 to go on these tires. So it is going to be slightly longer than what we saw on stage number 1 and stage number 2. So they're not able to push even just a little bit harder than what we saw before. So they're still going to have to tire save to the end, but they are able to go at least a little bit faster than the cars around them in this middle point or in this gray area of pit stops here.
Bad news for Troy Carricker, Shelby, if you're out there watching. Too fast entering, speeding ticket, Troy Carricker. And so he's going to have to serve the penalty. Meanwhile, Greg Evans, we're waiting on Greg Evans. Crash Neon, Say Lewis Hayes, Joshua Zorn, and Sam Crow. Sam Crow went to pit lane, too fast entering pit lane. Sam Crow gets himself a speeding ticket, and here comes Greg Evans. And Greg Evans is sideways. He spun the car getting on the pit lane. And he's got a speeding ticket. This is disaster for Greg Evans. Speeding ticket, and he spun the car sideways. That pit entrance has caught out 1, 2, 3 contenders just in this pit cycle. That's going to make Crash Neon your leader temporarily. He and Say Hey Lewis Hayes are the last two to stop. And I got to believe if you're still out there now, you're going to run this thing until you run out.
That's a mindset that Crash Neon, I guarantee you, is going for. Right as I say that, he comes down pit lane. Are we able to get one driver that doesn't get a speeding ticket?
Crash Neon made it. Crash Neon made it to pit lane, no ticket. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, he made it, no speeding ticket. So when all this cycles around, Kendall Paul is going to be your leader, and he's going to be your leader by a lot. He's 2 seconds ahead of Trevor Ryan. Trevor Ryan is 0.2 quicker the last time through, but Kendall Paul has been staked to a big lead here.
Yes, he is, but so far, Crash Neon and Say Hey Lewis Hayes will have the freshest tires at the end. They are going to be about what looks to be about half a lap behind Kendall Paul and Trevor Ryan, so they need to start hustling if they want to try to get back up towards the front and try to get a win here at Texas. There's Crash Neon. He just exited pit lane right at the same time Kendall Paul crossed the start-finish line. So it is exactly half a lap here that Crash Neon needs to make up on our leader here.
Absolutely. Kendall Paul is going to flash through turns 3 and 4. Crash Neon back out on the track. That staying out business cost him 16 seconds, Caleb. That's the difference, but he's got 9-lap fresher tires. So as Kendall Paul's tires begin to fall away, and he's already down 0.6 of a second, Crash Neons are going to be good for about 10 laps, and he should be able to make up at least some of the ground on the cars in front of him. He's about 3 seconds behind Lee Campbell, and Lee Campbell, one of the earliest pitters. He's got 9-lap fresher tires than Lee Campbell. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in, by the way. We've had a big crowd on hand tonight for the AMA. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. Hit us up in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. You're watching Kendall Paul 2 seconds, excuse the hiccups, 2 seconds ahead of this man, Trevor Ryan. Justin Osterman in the Jimmy Spencer livery machine is laps down. He has currently scored 19th. It's another 2 seconds back and a bit to Franco Alvarez in third. And then Mark Paget is another 1.5 seconds behind them. The nearest battle on the track, Ryan O'Donoghue trying to chase down the Tabasco fiasco in Vance Fisher.
Yeah, Ryan O'Donoghue has not really had the greatest day here. It seems like he has very early run pace, and then the longer we go into this, it just seems like he's fallen off just a little bit every lap or so. So he needs to try to get by Vance Fisher and try to build as much as gap as he can before his tires start to fade away, and try to make as much time as possible early on in his stint.
Yes, he is. We know Ryan O'Donoghue's very quick. We also know that at about lap 35, his tires are going to fall off the cliff. He's going to go by Vance Fisher, move Ryan O'Donoghue into the 6th spot, Fisher 7th. James Hodgson has pulled up on Vance Fisher as well. Hodgson has 4-lap fresher tires than does Fisher. He's got 2-lap fresher than O'Donoghue, so James Hodgson may be looking good here for a run into that top 6. These cars are, though, about 4.5 seconds behind Joshua Zorn, and there's Zorn, and he's got fresher tires than all 3 of those cars. Matter of fact, Zorn was the last one to stop of the cars in the top 8. Crash Neon is trying to run down James Hodgson. He's catching him at a second a lap right now, but that's not going to last much longer. I would expect, though, Crash Neon is going to arrive at the back of James Hodgson within the next couple of laps. He is on a tear, Caleb.
Yes, he is. Very reminiscent of what he did in the first stage, to where he fire saved quite well and was just charging up towards the front at the end of stage number 1. He's going to have to do that again here, but he's got a big gaggle of cars right in front of him that he has pressure tires on, and once he gets by him, he's going to have clean tracking. He's just going to have to set sail off in the distance again. So we'll see what he's able to do in a couple laps' time when he eventually catches them.
Yeah, you can see him out the windshield, and there he is, Crash Neon running along in 9th. Watch the wheel, very steady, not a ton of movement back and forth, certainly no opposite lock. Crash Neon is hunting down the 3 cars in front. Let's just ride with Crash a minute. Mike Rigney lied to us, by the way, Caleb. He did not get a 2-foot-long corn dog, instead pork fried rice, so shame on him. We'll have to get Mike to Indianapolis so we can feed him a tenderloin from the Mug and Bun. You been to the Mug and Bun, Caleb?
I am not, Murph.
It's an Indiana State institution. If I didn't have a dance recital I had to be at the Saturday night before the race, Neon going to go to the bottom. He's going to pass 2 for 1 here.
Yes, he is indeed. He's still 3 wide coming off the corner. He's hugging that white line all IndyCar style. He has Vance Fisher on the top side, but able to clear him before they get to turn number 4. And now he has Ryan O'Donoghue right in front of him. Crashing on up 2 positions on that lap, and now is possibly going to get another one of Ryan O'Donoghue before the lap is even over.
He will indeed. There goes Crash Neon. He's going to get past Ryan O'Donoghue, move Crash into that 6th spot, but he's got about 6 seconds to get to the car in front of him and Joshua Zorn. And Zorn is a little bit faster than Crash Neon at this point. Do want to just kind of let everybody know, Franco Alvarez has not forgotten about Kendall Paul. We're going to get in the drone, and that's the difference between Kendall Paul and Franco Alvarez. It's about 15 car lengths, or 0.7 of a second. And then you've got about the same distance back to Trevor Ryan in 3rd, and then about the same distance to Mark Padgett in 4th. So the battle for the lead has not yet concluded. We're going to keep an eye on Franco Alvarez as he continues to close down this man, Kendall Paul, for the lead of this race. And there's the difference as you see it. Franco Alvarez visibly catching Kendall Paul, and he's got 6 lap better tires than Kendall Paul also, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. He had a big battle with Trevor Ryan about 4 or 5 laps ago, and was able to center around the outside of turns 1 and 2. So, and now he's gaining on Kendall Paul. Meanwhile, for the 3rd place position, Trevor Ryan has got a mirror full of Mark Padgett. Mark Padgett wants back up towards the front of this thing. Let's see if he's able to get around Trevor Ryan. Not quite there, but he is gaining ever so slightly every single lap.
Yes, indeed. And how much, you got to wonder, how much is Kendall Paul playing possum and just saving his stuff here, knowing that he's got fresher tires coming behind him? And on the converse, how much is Franco Alvarez used up out of those tires, and how much does he have left to deal with Kendall Paul once he gets there? You can catch a guy. Catching him is one thing, passing him is another. And speaking of guys that have caught others, Trevor Ryan has now caught Mark Padgett, and we've got a battle for 3rd. We're going to keep an eye on the interval for the lead as this unfolds. But you're watching the battle for 3rd. Mark Padgett, Trevor Ryan. I'm keeping an eye. I've got Kendall Paul and Franco Alvarez in the corner of my eye. We're going to see if Trevor Ryan can make a move here to get to that 3rd spot.
Yes, he is indeed, but Mark Padgett able to get around Trevor Ryan, actually. So Mark Padgett sets his sights off in the distance. Is he faster than the cars in front? He's barely faster than Franco Alvarez. Franco Alvarez, he's got a fender on Kendall Paul on the backstretch.
Yeah, Franco Alvarez, but he thinks better of it because they've got Sergio Abella in front of him. Now Alvarez is going to swing it to the high side, get some clean air on the nose of that Chevrolet, and he's going to see if he can't make the move around Kendall Paul coming through 1 and 2. Kendall Paul, you can see the white gloves sawing on the steering wheel going through turn number 4. I thought he might have been playing possum a little bit, Caleb. He is definitely on the wheel now. Franco Alvarez trying to make the move for the lead. Kendall Paul trying to keep it, but it might be a lost cause. Franco Alvarez sideways coming off of turn number 2. He turns it to the inside. They've got the lap car of Sergio Abella in front of him. Alvarez is going to use Abella as a pick. Move Franco Alvarez to the lead. Kendall Paul to second. And Mark Paget is coming in third, too.
Yeah, Mark Paget has closed in half a second in just those 2 laps with those cars going side by side. Kendall, he's got the more worn tires. He had the lap car in front. He might be able to fight back depending on how much he was able to save, but Franco Alvarez, we know he's quick, but it does seem like he struggles a little bit around here with saving tires, and Kendall is very good at saving tires at the mile and a half, so super speedway or the speedways, and we'll see if Kendall's able to get back at this, back at the lead in the next 25 laps or so. Meanwhile, Mark Paget, out of the top 3, he is the fastest of the 3. He's about 0.2 quicker than our front 2, and actually Trevor Ryan is another 0.2 quicker than Kendall and Franco Alvarez. So this top 4 is coming together really close together, and it's going to be a battle to the finish.
Whoa, contact! Kendall Paul sideways. He tried to make the move on Franco Alvarez. Alvarez up the hill. That's going to hand the lead to Mark Paget. Trevor Ryan is coming back through for second. Kendall Paul. Franco Alvarez continue to make contact off of turn number 2. Now Sergio Alvarez hits the wall to avoid him, and they're still going after it, but now it's for third and fourth. Franco Alvarez will claim third, and that may be the race for both of them. And they're going to have to be careful because Joshua Zorn is closing in now from the 5th spot. And we'll go to Mark Paget now, your leader, with 27 laps to go, Caleb.
Well, that completely unfolded for Kendall and Franco Alvarez. They kind of, were the fastest cars on track. They've been the fastest cars all day. Mark Paget and Trevor Ryan have been just kind of right there, and now Mark Paget is setting his sights off in the distance. He is the fastest car out of the top 4 at the moment. Kendall, 2:10 slower. Franco Alvarez and Trevor Ryan are ever so slightly slower by a couple thousandths than Mark Paget last time around. So Mark is just got to, maintain pace, keep saving his stuff, and he will able to get to the end and win this thing with just over 25 to go.
Well, and how costly was that for Kendall Paul? Not only did he lose second, he's already dropped back to the 5th spot here with 25 laps to go. I was talking about no offense meant to the gentleman from the great state of West Virginia by saying that he's a guy that looks like he could use some soul food and a shot of grease. I threaten everybody, and I do mean everybody, with lunch at the Mug and Bun and dinner at Charlie Brown's. If you come to Indianapolis with me, you're going to eat at those 2 places. Jesper Orman was in the Midwest from Sweden, Caleb. I drove to Chicago, got him, hauled him to Indianapolis, took him to the Speedway, took him on the tour, and then I hauled him to Charlie Brown's for a greasy cheeseburger, and that man was delighted. But the other thing you don't realize about tenderloins in Indianapolis, you get the tenderloin sandwich on the the hamburger bun, Caleb. You know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't, Murph.
All right, so a pork tenderloin is a it's a breaded piece of pork tenderloin, and they serve it on a hamburger bun. Well, the hamburger bun is fully dressed. It's got lettuce and so forth on it, tomato and pickle, and whatever else. And the tenderloin is usually about 6 to 8 inches in diameter. It's huge. Okay? And so it doesn't fit on the bun. It is the most delightful sandwich that you'll ever eat in your life, maybe other than a cheeseburger from Charlie Brown's. That is delicious. We're watching Mark Paget lead this race from Trevor Ryan while Mike Rigney makes me hungry. We've got 22 laps to go here from Texas. We do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. He puts a lap on Keith Graham. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. And no matter what, if we get a winner out of the top 3, we're going to have a new winner in the series. Paget, Ryan, and Alvarez have not won an AMA race, and they could very well do so tonight. It is worth noting Greg Evans has been on a tear the last several laps. He's made it up to the 15th spot. He's trying to get himself into position where he's trying to get himself in position where if the yellow comes out, he'd be the first car a lap down. The problem is that this man, Mark Paget, keeps putting more cars laps down, Caleb.
Yes, he does indeed. Keith Graham is currently the first car a lap down. So, and relative to Sam Crow is about nearly a half lap difference between Sam Crow. Greg Evans is just behind him. So those guys are going to have to gain a ton of time if they want to try to get any sort of lucky dogs here, or if we get late race caution and they're just able to take the wave around, but then they'll be at a tire disadvantage at that point.
They do indeed. Now, here's the thing. There is no dispute over first or second. The best battle on the track is for third. Franco Alvarez has it. Joshua Zorn would love to run on the podium here. He has reeled in Franco Alvarez lap by lap, and there's the number 9 of Joshua Zorn, and he is looking at the back of Franco Alvarez, and he's thinking he would love to sneak into that podium spot. Zorn has 1 lap fresher tires than does Franco Alvarez, and so we're going to see here if Joshua Zorn can make that move and get himself into the top 3 with 18 laps to go. Mark Paget, your leader. Trevor Ryan, second. This is the battle for third here in the AMA on P1 from Texas.
Yeah, Joshua Zorn gaining ever so slightly on Franco Alvarez, and you kind of want to think Franco didn't hit anything other than Kendall Paul, so he probably at most has body damage. You see Franco just drifting the car the entire way around through 1 and 2 there. So Franco's right rear is completely worn out. He's using that right rear to rotate the car at the moment. Still getting loose through turn number 4, drifting it.
This is not Formula D, race fans. This is the NASCAR Grand National Series. And Franco Alvarez would have gotten a 9.8, 9.9 for that if this was a judged event. Maybe a 6.7 from the East German judge. That baby was flat sideways and didn't quite make it. Joshua Zorn goes into third. Circling among other battles on the track, Lewis Hayes has gotten past Vance Fisher. Move Say Hey Lewis Hayes into the 10th spot. He's gotten by the Tabasco Fiasco in Vance Fisher. Say Hey Lewis Hayes runs along in 10th, and he is rapidly gaining on Lee Campbell. 32.629 for Campbell, 32.316 for Say Hey Lewis Hayes. Say Hey Lewis Hayes right now is faster than the leader. He's 19 seconds adrift of that lead, but the Grease Monkey Special is coming, Caleb.
Yes, it is indeed. Say Hey Lewis Hayes. I believe he's the best of his teammates at the moment, besides actually Ryan O'Donohue out of that DBW Motorsports is the best off. However, Say Hey Lewis Hayes is about 0.6 quicker than him, so he's probably going to catch his teammate before this is all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely trying. He's definitely coming. And look at the rate he's gaining on Lee Campbell, 0.4 of a second. He's 0.6 of a second a lap on Ryan O'Donoghue. He may very well finish this race in the 8th spot.
He might, though, but it's just 2.5 seconds, and it's over half a second difference. So Lewis Hayes, I think he's able to get Ryan O'Donoghue. However, Lee Campbell is also gaining on Ryan O'Donoghue. So this is going to be, they're probably all going to come together at the same time. So it's going to be a battle of who's able to keep their car clean and prevail when these cars all come together. So it's going to be an interesting position on who's going to be able to prevail for that 8th place spot.
Yeah, and look, that's something that we're going to continue to follow. Meanwhile, Joshua Zorn has now caught Trevor Ryan for the 2nd spot. Joshua Zorn is continuing to climb through the top of this field. He's 0.2 of a lap, that lap faster than Mark Padgett. Joshua Zorn has an outside shot, Caleb, of winning this race. He's about a second off the lead. But at the rate he's going, he could very well catch Mark Padgett for the lead. He's got to deal with Trevor Ryan first, but Joshua Zorn making a blitz through the top 10 as we get down to 10 laps to go. He's all over the back of Trevor Ryan as they come off of turn 4.
Yes, he is indeed. But one thing you also got to consider is that Mark Padgett has a lap car of Justin Austin and Mr. Excitement right in front of him. So he's also dealing with the dirty air of Mr. Excitement right in front. And he's got to get around him as well. Right as I said, Justin Osman does the gentlemanly thing and gets out of the way of him, goes to the apron. And now Joshua Zorn slots himself into 2nd place position. He's got just under 10 laps to go. He is about a tenth faster every single lap, so this is going to come right down to the wire here, Murph.
32.5 for Padgett, 32.345 for Zorn. Another 10.5 came off that lap. Joshua Zorn now 0.6 of a second from a win here at Texas in the National Fallen Firefighters 300. Can he do it? He is coming, and he is coming fast. Is he going to run out of laps? Down to less than half a second now on Mark Padgett. And remember, Joshua Zorn, one of the later pitters. He's got 1 lap fresher tires than Mark Padgett. Can he do it? Half a second at the line. Last time through, 3 tenths, 32.545 to a 32.244. 0.3 of a second now. Joshua Zorn is getting there and getting there in a hurry. They're coming up to put a lap on Vance Fisher. Fisher does not have to pull over here. He is trying to maintain a position on the lead lap, but he will get out of the way. He'll let the leaders go. This time through, Joshua Zorn, and you can see it, Caleb, visibly gaining through turns 3 and 4. Another 0.2 of a second that last time through. 7 to go.
7 to go here. And one thing that's mainly a difference, and I guarantee you this is where Joshua Zorn's gaining all his pace. He's able to hit that bottom of 1 and 2 every single lap. Meanwhile, Mark Padgett looks up the inside. Joshua Zorn sends it in late, going through turns 3 and 4, and he's able to get the position. But does Mark Padgett have a cutback? He looks up the inside, go through the front straightaway.
Here he comes. Here he comes now. When you do that late send like that, it costs you a ton of momentum on corner exit. Joshua Zorn got the position, but he had to lift on exit. Shot him out to the lead, but Mark Padgett comes right back. He's going to try to fight back on the inside. Can't get it done. He'll follow him through turns 3 and 4, but we have a battle for the win on our hands here at Texas in the National Fallen Firefighters 300. Joshua Zorn leads it. Mark Padgett had the lead. He wants to get it back, and Trevor Ryan has stuck his nose into the fight. He'd like to win this race. He's going to go by Padgett in a second, and now Trevor Ryan may be hunting the lead from Joshua Zorn.
Trevor Ryan. Oh, he hits the wall hard, though. That's going to allow Mark Paget to make another move going up the inside, turn number 3. And that's just going to allow Joshua Zorn to walk away from this battle of second place here. They're still side by side, go through turn number 4. Trevor Ryan barely tapping the wall there, but he's able to clear Mark Paget going down the front straightaway. Meanwhile, right behind him, Franco Alvarez has closed that gap down significantly over our top 3 here.
Yeah, and look, Trevor Ryan visibly getting loose off of turn 2 now. So too Mark Paget. If you look at Joshua Zorn, that number 9 is perfectly stable. He's going to cross the line. He's going to have 3 laps to go. Joshua Zorn looking like a winner tonight from Texas.
Yeah, Joshua Zorn, it looks like he was able just to wrap that bottom so much nicer than everybody else, and that's where he's gained all of his pace over everyone else late in the running here. So he's able to just keep a nice and tight line, and now he is leaving everybody else behind him in the dust. Mark Paget nearly half a second slower last time around than Joshua Zorn. Trevor Ryan was about another 10 slower than him, so it's getting fairly spread out. The only other place is what Franco Alvarez can do, and he's only faster than Mark Paget at the moment.
Yes, he is. Mark Paget has fallen to third. He is fading quickly into the clutches of Franco Alvarez. This time by, though, Joshua Zorn. He's going to come off at turn number 4. He's going to look at the white flag. Joshua Zorn with a 0.8 of a second lead and expanding by the foot. He's got the white flag. 1 lap to go for a win here in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series at Texas.
Joshua Zorn on the back straightaway. Drifts a little bit coming off turn number 2. He really hasn't ran much this season. He comes to Texas, dominates this race, the majority of this race in the 3rd stage. He's going to come across the line and get the win here at Texas.
Joshua Zorn with the checkered flag. Trevor Ryan brings it home 2nd. Mark Paget is 3rd. And we are now going to be looking at the Rogue Energy winning moment. If you go to rogueenergy.com and use promo code AMA24, you get 10% off your order, and tonight's Rogue Energy winning moment goes to Joshua Zorn. There he is. Let's see how he's going to choose to celebrate this one, Caleb. I believe he's going to spin out here. There he goes. Now we got to rate the donuts. I was giving Seb Alexander some grief over his donuts the other night. Zorn just kind of gives it a little loop for his Rogue Energy winning moment, and he's gonna stop the car on the front straightaway, and we'll get to the final running order here from Texas in the National Fallen Firefighters 300. Joshua Zorn, your winner. Trevor Ryan, 2nd. Mark Paget will bring it home in 3rd. Franco Alvarez and Kendall Paul are your top 5. In 6th, Crash Neon, James Hodgson 7th. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is going to be credited with 8th. Lee Campbell 9th. Ryan O'Donoghue brings it home in 10th. He had a night, Ryan O'Donoghue, but he comes home 10th. And 11th, how about Keith Graham? Troy Carricker is 12th. Sam Crow 13th. Greg Evans 14th. Vance Fisher is 15th. Christopher Logan, Sergio Abella, Randy Dunlap, Justin Osterman, and the Teddy Bear Ted Craven will round out your top 20. 21st, Mike Rigney. Christian Light 22nd. Brian Sharp, Donald Green, Eric Corder, John Hutchins, Rick Fallis, David Dunwoody, Andrew Gates, and Matt Metler are the remainder of your finishers here tonight in the AMA at Texas. Let's see if we can't get some replays queued up here, Caleb. There we go. Get the results out of the way. And we are ready to see who we got. Let's bring in Mark Padgett. Mark Padgett, you've got Mark Murphy, Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
So you were the only guy that was able to kind of hold on or hold off Greg Evans early. You had the lead late. Was it a matter of running out of tires, or you just didn't save enough, or was it something? Was it changing track conditions? How did that all accordion together for you at the end?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I didn't save enough. When we came out, I saw Josh, and he came out second and a half behind me after the green flag stops, and I gapped him to about 3 seconds, hoping that would be enough because I know Josh from a previous league, so I knew he'd be good at saving tires, but turned out to not be enough, and I think I used my stuff up chasing down the 41, and I think it was the 78 that was already up there after the stops.
Caleb, what do you have for Mr. Padgett this evening?
Well, I guess how excited were you in the moment when those two cars came together in 1 and 2 to hand you the lead?
Oh yeah, that was a gift for sure. Yeah, I was running them down, but I didn't know if I could pass them, and they made it easy for me. So yeah, that got me a little excited. At that point, I really went into tire save mode, just managing the gap, tried to stay about a second ahead of the field, but yeah, I guess I used up a little too much tire.
So we've got one more question that we always ask first timers here in the broadcast. I'll let Caleb handle that because it's his question. But Caleb, you need
Murph,
to.
I typically ask the winner. So Mark, if you get your first win here in the series, you'll get asked that certain question. So I think we got to move on to shouts, friends, family, sponsors. The floor is yours here, Mark.
Okay, yeah, make me wait for that question for sure. No, I mean, yeah, this was a great league, great race, great league. It's my first race, but this was a lot of fun. I used to run full length leagues a lot, so I really was excited when I got invited to come over here. Saw it was full length in the Xfinity car. I love full length. I love this car. So, I'll shout out Kyle Emmon. He painted this car. I think it's pretty sharp, except I noticed he had the wrong banner. I'll call myself out on that. He had my other league's banner on there. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like a clean race. So shout out to the field too. I mean, anytime you get green flag pit stops, that was a ton of fun.
Well, I appreciate your stopping by, Mark. Welcome to the AMA. Congratulations on the podium on debut. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
100%. That is Mark Padgett. He is your third place finisher tonight. We'll get him back up to the waiting room. We'll bring in Trevor Ryan. Trevor, you've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. How's it going?
Almost, my friends. Almost. You were running down Zorn a little bit at the end. You had the lead at one point close to the end. Talk to us about that fight between you and Padgett and Zorn to decide who was going to win the race.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Hats off to those guys for racing clean. I'm really glad that the last stage went green the whole way. I had made a few mistakes earlier in the race that kind of got me mired back, and I pit a little early on that cycle. And at the end there, I think I was 6 laps down on Joshua there, tire-wise, and I just didn't have enough left in the tank to go get him.
Caleb, what say you this evening?
Well, you kind of just were lurking inside the top 5, in the top 10 most of the night. You had some great battles all up and down the field, but just came up quite short of Zorn. Did you think if you had anything, if Mark stayed out in front, did you think you were able to get around Mark and then maybe pull a gap on Zorn there, or do you think it was just inevitable that Zorn was going to get the both of you no matter what?
Yeah, once the 9 got around me, I kind of figured the writing was on the wall. I was ready to settle for third. Then those two got racing in front of me, and I got the opportunity to pounce on him, but I didn't really think I had anything for the 9 there at the end. He was lights out.
Well, there you go. I appreciate your time, Trevor. Congratulations on the second place run. As always, here at P1, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks. I want to thank everybody that's involved in running this league. It's a great place to come run full length O'Reilly Series races. I'd like to thank you guys for putting this fantastic broadcast on every week, and just want to thank my friends, family, and the lovely lady that lets me sit down here and do this on Thursday nights.
Absolutely. That's the most important part, Trevor. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's Trevor Ryan. He is the second place finisher tonight. And for the man of the hour, we go to Joshua Zorn. Josh, you've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You hear us?
I got you guys.
So it's been a while since we've had you up here. Talk to us about the run. You kind of caught them all napping. You stopped later than everybody else, and that Chevrolet was a rocket at the end. Tell us how you managed to basically go from 6th at the beginning of the cycle all the way to the front.
Yeah, I was trying to really run that the run before the last pit stop as far as I could. Definitely felt the right front losing its life towards the end there. But I knew the leaders ahead of me were kind of doing the same strategy, so I didn't really want to short pit them. I wanted to be on fairly equal tires to them. And I know Greg ended up having his issues on the last pit stop, unfortunately. So then that kind of opened up the door a little bit there. He was having a great run, and then just tried to manage it there for the last 50 laps, and kind of just take whatever comes up. And I think they kind of got to racing ahead of me, which played into my hands a little bit too. I was able to maintain clean air for the good first 20-30 laps of the run, so that really benefited me as well.
I'll let Caleb Brashear ask the hard-hitting questions here. Go ahead, Caleb.
Only the most serious of questions for first-time winners of the season here in the AMA. We asked this at everybody, whether it's the AMA or whether I do Horizon or Area 51 with Murph. Any first-time winner I get to meet, what is your favorite chicken wing flavor?
Wow, that was quite the build-up there. I was not expecting that question. Favorite chicken wing flavor? Boy, I'm not a huge chicken wing eater, but if I had to pick, probably off the top of my head, barbecue.
Okay.
That's probably not the answer you're looking for, but that's what came to me.
It's what your favorite chicken wing flavor is. Mine is honey barbecue. I don't eat a lot of spicy stuff due to stomach issues. So it's not that I don't like it. I just if I go blazing, I'm gonna get one and then I'm going to the hospital. So I choose to not eat the hot stuff. Brashear's a little bit more brave than I am, but we do like to know what your favorite food group of chicken wing is, and we appreciate your playing along. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours, Josh. Go ahead.
Oh, just thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and all those watching, and to everybody in the league for the good race tonight.
Absolutely. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
You bet, guys. Thank you. Take care.
Yes, sir. That is Joshua Zorn. He is tonight's winner. And Caleb, we got to see something that we don't very often see in an AMA race tonight. We saw a podium made up entirely of drivers that we don't see on the podium tonight. We had a guy in his first AMA race, Mark Paget. He goes to third. Joshua Zorn. He's here sometimes and he's not here sometimes. He races when he can. He goes to victory lane. And how about Trevor Ryan, man? Just an all-around great group, and great to see new faces at the front.
Yeah, it is indeed. And, we saw a lot of, new faces up towards the front, or faces that we really don't see that often up towards the front. Like you said, Joshua Zorn, Trevor Ryan, Mark Paget, a brand new face in the AMA. Franco Alvarez, up there up towards the end. He's been on a tear very recently. And Crash Neon, James Hodgson, they both had very, very good runs throughout the race. So all in all, it was a very good race. We got, the second stage was a little bit of a mix-up there with the cautions that we got, but that third stage was very, very entertaining to watch. A lot of battle for positions, a lot of battle for the lead with how strategies were working and how late some guys stayed out, how early some guys came in. So it was very interesting to see how that all came together. And we had a little bit of chaos for the lead there towards the later part of the third stage, but it still prevailed as a very good battle all up and down the field for the lead. Congratulations to Joshua Zorn for the win here at Texas, and I am looking forward to the next one at Watkins.
I'm looking forward to the whole slate, Caleb. Tomorrow night, you and I are going to be back here for the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series, live from the Texas Motor Speedway, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. We're going to have Saturday off here at P1. On Sunday, it's the Dark Horse TW12 Series presented by 40 Racewear, 8 o'clock right here on P1 Sunday night. Monday, the doubleheader kicks off at 8 with the IndyCar Series Monday Night Top Split, and then we've got the Indy Next Road Series Monday Night Top Split at 10. Tuesday, it's a big one. The IndyCar Oval Series kicks off the month of May at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 8:15, and then the Indy Next Oval Series from Mexico City at 9:30. Wednesday, the Horizon IndyCar Series will be right back here at Texas. Join us at 8 o'clock for that one, and that brings us back here Thursday night for round 13 of the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series from Watkins Glen. We want to thank all of the competitors for the phenomenal race we just saw. We want to thank, too, the fans in the stands. Thank you all for the chats and the engagement. But we really want to thank the people who really make it possible. The police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulances, the military serving in the fields, and not only the EMTs that are driving the ambulance, Caleb, but the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank all of them, and we will see you tomorrow night for Trucks at Texas.